What's up, A to Z Sports Live here. Titans draft live coverage for the first round of the NFL draft. Like we said, we'd be live right after the Carolina Panthers pick was announced. And indeed, it was Bryce Young, quarterback from Alabama. So we're going to have a big time show and a long night. Maybe we'll see how long the night goes. Based and really it depends on what the Titans want to do, what Rand Carthon wants to do in his first NFL draft as an NFL GM running the show with the Tennessee Titans. So get ready for a long night and buckle up. And we appreciate all of you guys. We have like well over 80 people in the YouTube waiting room saying, come on, go live. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Well, we told you we'd go live when Bryce Young was announced, and that's exactly what we did. So the Houston Texans are on the clock with a second overall pick, and we're about to dive in with a lot of what's been going on throughout the day and throughout the afternoon. I'm Austin Stanley of A to Z Sports with our Titans reporter Sam Phelan at A2Zsports.com and our guy Jack Gentry, host of the Titan Up podcast and also NFL writer for A2Zsports.com. So we're going to have a lot of fun tonight through this draft. What will Rand Carthon do? Will he get aggressive? Will he miss out on his potential quarterback and C.J.Stroud with the latest rumors and all of that? But first, let me tell you guys, A to Z Sports Titans Draft live coverage is presented all weekend by three of our great sponsors. HelloFresh, back for NFL Draft number 3 with us. So go to HelloFresh.com/ATOZ50 and use that code ATOZ50 and you get 50% off plus your first box shipped free. Holiday World, Splashin, Safari, happy to have them along. Make the most of your family's summer with a trip just a couple hours away. Get tickets at holidayworld.com and Aura, keeping you safe online. Use our link, aura.com/ATOZ for a 2-week free trial to find out how many data brokers are sharing your information. Sam, I'll welcome in you first. The Texans have 5+ minutes left on the clock, but how are you feeling right now with what the Texans and all this rumors have been over the last several hours?
Well, I'm not going to lie. My bubble got burst a little bit. It did. I said this morning that I was predicting C.J.Stroud to land with the Tennessee Titans. That's what I told Jim Wyatt for his mock roundup. That's what you and I were just talking about on Instagram Live about an hour ago, 45 minutes ago here, Austin. But it is starting to look more and more like C.J.Stroud will go number 2 to Houston. We'll see if that's official here in a few minutes. And I don't think the Titans will move up to number 3 in that situation unless they really just do love Will Levis and want to prevent him from going to the Indianapolis Colts. But I think a little bit of the hype train that was surrounding C.J.Stroud to the Titans, it's slowing down a little bit here. And I'm in wait and see mode. We'll see it is coming. Should we spoil it? Should we not spoil it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think our job is not to spoil it.
We won't spoil.
Do what the chat does.
Well, the pick is in. Yeah. I'm in wait and see mode with the Titans. We'll see what they do. I'll let Jack kind of take this away here and get his 2 seconds in before we hear from the commissioner.
Yeah, guys, happy to be back. Texans at the number 2 pick. This is where it all begins, right? Lovie Smith. I think Titans fans all owe Lovie Smith a big thank you after miraculously winning a Week 18 game in which he was fired after against the Colts last year. So instead of drafting Bryce Young number 1 overall, we have this mystery of who's going to. In the last couple hours, it seems like less and less of a mystery, and Stroud probably will wind up with Houston. We'll see here. The Texans pick is in, but glad to have you guys in here. Let's get fired up. It's going to be a long night, and can't wait to talk some Titans with you guys.
Yeah, so if it is C.J.Stroud here, and we'll talk about this quite a bit, we're going to be very flexible and fluid with our plans on this draft night. As you know, this is the first time in a long time that A to Z Sports has done a draft reaction show where the Titans are kind of right around early on in the draft. We've been used to picking 19th and 22 and 26 and 29 A to Z Sports covering the Titans draft. So picking at 11 right now, if the Texans go with C.J.Stroud, do you guys just think that the Titans are going to hang tight and just sit and wait, Sam?
I do. I mean, I think you're not trading up to number 3 overall. If I'm the Titans, I'm certainly not. I don't necessarily think they will either. I told you, over the last week or so, Austin, I was very strongly, I believed C.J.Stroud was their guy and was Mike Vrabel's guy. So you consider going up, you do your due diligence, especially with the rumors that, Houston might not go with a quarterback. But without Stroud, without Young on the board, I think you wait and see. And if you like Will Levis or Anthony Richardson and you get past Seattle at pick 5, then you kind of let's, regroup then and see if you feel like you need to move up to 6 or 8. And maybe the cost is a little bit less at that point. But I'm not going anywhere number 3. And you're in wait and see mode to see if maybe, one of these offensive linemen or kind of just who falls to you at 11 at this point.
Yeah, as we wait for the Texans pick, which is, and we appreciate you guys. While you're at it, go ahead and give the show a like. We'd appreciate that if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Roger Goodell at the podium for the second overall pick, and the commissioner about to announce to the Houston Texans they do select Ohio State quarterback C.J.Stroud. So Stroud is now gone off the board. Quarterback number 1, quarterback number 2. Adam Schefter was kind of losing his mind, I guess a week ago. Jack,
I don't think so. I don't mean to, interrupt.
He was losing his mind on NFL Network just about 10 days ago, saying that I don't think a quarterback's going to go 1-2 like we thought, right?
With Orlovsky, he did.
Yeah.
He made that bet 10-1 odds. He lost that bet on the second pick of the night.
Well, listen, go ahead. I think ownership stepped in here. I really do. I think Houston's ownership said we need a quarterback, for this franchise, and they kind of asserted their will here and bring C.J.Stroud into the fold. But this has you can tell in the betting odds and in the rumors how much this thing has fluctuated over the last 24 hours to finally land with probably what was the logical move to begin with, C.J.Stroud in Houston. That makes the most sense. It's just disappointing. Titans fans, we got our hopes up a little bit.
Yeah, it was a bit of a tease. And, I don't know if the Titans intentionally manipulated this. I do think that they seriously wanted to move up to 3 because the Texans, who had just hired a defensive head coach in D'Amico Ryans, were eyeing Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson, both, or, even Jalen Carter. Who knows? The draft is weird. But the Titans, I don't know that they move up now. Their guys off the board, and like you said, Sam, it all started today. I mean, to open the day, we saw on BetMGM where C.J.Stroud was around plus 200. Well, 30 minutes before the draft, something huge changed.
It got better than that though. I saw it at plus 450 just 2 hours before the draft. It was looking. Will Anderson was minus 340 on my book. And I was looking at it and I was like, man, looks like C.J.Stroud really will be there for the Titans at number 3. And that was in the height of all of this buzz about a trade where I was like, this thing might actually freaking happen. The Titans might actually wind up with C.J.Stroud in their lap. And then every minute it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and blows up in their face.
And it eventually, it got up to minus 5,000. It was a done deal. It does feel like ownership had to step in. A little flashback for Titans fans. Matt Leinart, VY. You have Jeff Fisher, the USC guy. You got Norm Chow, the OC from USC. Ownership. Bud Adams has ties to Texas. Vince Young, one of the best college quarterbacks of all time. He says, you know what? We're getting Vince Young. Screw y'all's work for the past 3 months. Doesn't matter. I'm going to get my guy. That's what it feels like from Cal McNair and the Texans going to get Stroud.
A to Z Sports, the Arizona Cardinals, third pick right now, 3:45 left on the clock. Do they make a move now? Because if you're the Cardinals, you're thinking, damn it, this is not what you wanted to happen. Now, who's going to move up with the Arizona Cardinals to get, do you move all the way up to get the third quarterback in this situation or what? But as we wait on the Cardinals situation here, I want to ask you guys, and I'm going to start with you, Sam. Why did the Texans do all this? What was the point for the Houston Texans to create all of this madness if they were just going to pick C.J.Stroud second anyway? What was in it for them, I guess?
I don't know if they did it on purpose. I'm not sure they made up their mind until a couple hours ago. It is really my estimation. That's where that ownership component comes into the fold, where it's that front office might have had their mind up on Bryce Young was our guy. Let's go and get the great defensive player in Will Anderson. that might have been where things were starting to head. And then, yeah, like ownership steps in. You finally come to a consensus as a group. It winds up being C.J.Stroud. And watch this second throw here. This is the type of stuff that I wish this was in Music City right now. Rolls to his right and just a thread of the needle in between two defenders against a very good Iowa defense, by the way. But this is a guy that has everything that Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon talked about at the season-ending press conference and in Rand's introductory press conference about what do they like in a quarterback. They like a guy with pocket presence, with toughness, with accuracy and anticipatory passing. These are things that C.J.Stroud has, tenfold, right? I mean, he does that better than a lot of these guys in the draft. He's a guy that I thought would have been a slam dunk to take over for Ryan Tannehill next year in the Titans offense. And what's even worse about this that I don't think has really become a reality for Titans fans yet, this guy, you have to see him twice a year. He's in your division now with Trevor Lawrence. So this is not just a missed opportunity for the Titans. This is now you're looking at Trevor Lawrence, you're looking at C.J.Stroud, and whoever goes off the board here at number 4 to the Indianapolis Colts, also likely a quarterback that you'll have to see in your division.
Oh my. Looks like the Houston Texans are going big with this. And maybe this was the move, right? Arizona won it out of the number 3 overall pick. And guess
I'm getting Shams Charania says that the Arizona Cardinals have taken the pick.
Well,
but maybe that's
Shams is a basketball guy, right?
Yeah, it is why. Stick to basketball, Shams. Yeah, here we go. Tom Pelissero. The Cardinals are sending the number 3 pick to the Texans. I saw this. Peter Schrager had this about an hour before the draft in his updated mock. Had them moving from 12 to 3 and using an extra picks to kind of move back and do so. And then, going Will Anderson Jr. with C.J.Stroud. That would be quite a haul to get Texans fans fired up.
Yeah,
Jack.
I mean, this sucks if you're a Titans fan. This sucks. Look, you're looking around the division, and the Texans, who had a great free agency period, seem to be legit. They're going all in. It's interesting because this happens more in the NBA, and I've talked about this on the Tighten Up podcast before. Usually, when they make a new hire, whether it's a GM, a head coach, a new regime, a new ownership group comes in, teams like to make immediate splashes to begin the new era to get everyone excited for this. For the years to come. DeMeco Ryans comes in. The Texans not only go up and get a quarterback, but now here they're back in the top 3, 2 picks in the top 3, drafting probably Will Anderson, who they've liked, for quite some time. Looking around the division, I mean, the Jaguars, they're set. The Colts are it's the Titans and Colts here that really need to make some noise in this draft. And I don't know that there's another spot to trade up unless you go from like 11 to 8, maybe do some business with the Falcons, who you have ties to. The Texans are stealing the show early here, though.
Yeah, this is very interesting. So we'll see what the pick is going to be from the Houston Texans, and what they're going to give up, right? Because they had the extra first-round pick. That was their bonus pick from the Deshaun Watson trade, and the pick is in for the Houston Texans. I mean, if you're a Titans fan, Jack, like you're saying, and you want to keep your segment on the Tighten Up podcast laughing at the Houston Texans, you hope that they go with the Texas Tech product instead of the Alabama product.
Yeah, we have the compensation Wilson from Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero. Houston gets picks 3 and 105. Arizona will get 12, 33. Houston's first round pick in 2024 and a 2024 third round pick. 33 is essentially a late first right there. So the Arizona Cardinals, Monty Ossenfort, kickstarting his rebuild as a new GM in Arizona, getting a haul of picks, 12, 33, next year's first rounder from Houston, next year's third rounder from Houston, and pick 3 and 105 going back to Arizona as the commissioner steps to the podium.
And it is Will Anderson is the pick at number 3 overall. And I did see some people in the chat saying, what if they go Jackson Smith and Jigba at 3 overall and go C.J.Stroud and JSN? They did not. That would be ballsy because they wouldn't have had to traded everything from 12 to that maybe. But they do get Will Anderson, the edge rusher from Alabama. And so now the Houston Texans going QB and edge rusher, right? If there's 2 ways to win the NFL, I'm going to put my Mike Vrabel mustache on and say there's 2 ways to win the NFL, quarterback play and affecting the quarterback. And the Texans just try to go get both of those things with second and the third overall, giving up a lot in the process to go get both C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. For my betting odds, I would have wished they just would have flipped them and done Will Anderson too. So I would have won my bet with BetMGM.
I would have too.
I want my money back. We'll talk about that later.
I want Titans fans to take a good hard look at this trade. That's likely the price tag that they were going to be faced with if they wanted to go up and get a quarterback. It's a lot, especially for a team that doesn't have a lot of draft picks to deal in the next few years. You do this to go and get a linebacker too. You know, that's a lot to give up.
It's an edge rusher. It's a pass rusher.
Yeah, I mean, for an edge rusher. I mean, still, it's a defensive guy. You know, I don't know. That's a big time move. You're going all in. I love it. Gave up a ton.
I love it. I mean, you get the best defensive player in the draft, in my opinion, at the premium position of defensive end, guy who can come off the edge, who can immediately be an impact for D'Amico Ryan, new head coach there, and you give this fan base some energy, some electricity here. Like, you use your first round pick next year, yeah, but you have now Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud, two young stars, one on either side of the ball that you can build the next era of the Houston Texans around. Not a good scenario for the Titans. I mean, like, this is just more teams in your division getting superstar talents right here. I love both of the players that Houston picks here at 2 and 3, and the Titans, assuming Indy takes a quarterback here, you're kind of stuck sitting on your hands.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my my cocky Vols joke and say, all the Titans have to do is draft Darnell Wright, and Will Anderson won't do anything because that's what happened when Tennessee beat Alabama. Will Anderson did a disappearing act because Darnell Wright held him right there during that game. But I want to get the chat more involved because we haven't really done that yet, waiting on the reason to do that, which we have. And the Colts still with now under 5 minutes. We'll see what the Colts do. Do they go Will Levis? Because this is going to get fun real fast. So I'm going to ask you guys this question because Sam, you've got the trade of what the Texans gave up to the Arizona Cardinals. The question I'm going to ask you guys: would you been okay if the Titans gave up that for the third pick? Would you have been okay if the Titans gave up everything that the Texans just did for the third pick, which is the 105? That's what they got. And then giving up 12, 33, and a first rounder next year and a third rounder next year. Would you have been okay with that for the Titans to do that? As comments are flying in, but Jack, I'll let you start.
Yes, I would have. I would have absolutely done that. It's the price of going to get a franchise quarterback. I mean, you throw cost aside when it comes to quarterbacks. Why I'm so surprised is because they did it for an edge rusher in Will Anderson. I think Titans fans would have been fine to get rid of that. They could have thrown those draft picks to the side in the trash can for the next few years. You've got a lot of salary cap space coming up in 2024 when Tannehill's contract comes off the books. I would have absolutely done that. The Texans, I mean, they just shocked the NFL, and it probably, I think, by trading back up to 3, it hurts the Titans the most out of every single team in the NFL.
I would have too. I mean, if it's for the right guy, right? I mean, as I said, when C.J. Stroud went number 2 overall, you don't move up to 3 at that point. But in my opinion, C.J. Stroud was the right guy. He's a guy that's going to be a franchise quarterback. And as Jack said, that's the price of doing business. That's the price of getting one of those guys. And you look, years past, teams that make that move, that go and get you can look at as recently as Carolina trading up to Chicago to go get number 1. Like, they gave up DJ Moore, their number 1 wide receiver, their number 1 pick next year, a second rounder, an additional third rounder. Like, they gave up a haul to the Bears that you could easily point to and be like, wow, is that expensive? And guess what? If Bryce Young hits, none of it matters because the Panthers got it right. So find your guy. If you believe in the guy, then no, it's not too expensive.
Yeah, I think it would have been a lot for the Titans to do that. If it was C.J. Stroud, then maybe I get that, but that would have been a lot just because the Titans don't have much draft capital like the Texans do, right? And the Texans are a completely different salary cap situation than the Titans. Now, that changes after this upcoming season for the Titans, but that's just a lot to give up when you've got to start to rebuild this organization, this football team, through the NFL draft because you have a lot of expensive pieces. So with
that.
But
I will say too, like what was one of the concerns with the Titans making a move to 3 was the fact that you only have 6 picks and you lose picks. The Houston Texans have the same number of picks in this year's draft as they did before that trade. They gave up picks 12 and 33 and then got picks 3 and 105. They gave up 2 more picks next year, but they kept their numbers this year. So theoretically, there was a deal to be made for the Titans to, stay with 6 selections and move up and then just offset it for next year when things are a bit more flexible.
Real quick, this draft is not going very well for the Tennessee Titans as the Indianapolis Colts get their quarterback, and that would be Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida at 4th overall. So now the Indianapolis Colts, Jim Irsay and his entire team up there get a quarterback that I gave a cocky Vols joke earlier about Darnell Wright and Will Anderson. I'm going to give you the battered Vols syndrome answer right here. Anthony Richardson playing the Titans twice a year for the next however many years is going to be constant headaches for the amount of times that you think you got him where you want him, and he makes a move, and then he busts it open and converts a third down with his legs. Jack, I'll let you go as the other SEC graduate in the show today from Ole Miss, but your initial thoughts on Anthony Richardson going 4th overall to the Indianapolis Colts. So now it's Trevor Lawrence, you got C.J.Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and the Titans will figure out what happens.
Austin, I feel like I just got punched in the gut. I mean, not only is Anthony Richardson with the Colts and C.J.Stroud with the Texans, but you're going to be reminded twice every season what you missed out on if both of these guys hit. I mean, and that's enough to really. Rand Carthon's got a lot to prove this draft. His first year, you'd expect him to be making some noise. But I mean, he's sitting on his hands. I understand they don't have a lot of picks to deal. Like for the Texans to go out and essentially buy a new car, Rand Carthon and the Titans don't have the capital to go out and buy that new car. They can't give up what the Texans gave up and be able to continue to build through the draft for the next few years. This hurts. The AFC South has already gotten so much better. Now, the Texans are more than just 2 players away. The Colts are more than just a quarterback away. But they've restarted the clock. Now, if you're the Titans, you're sitting here, and realistically, Will Levis is starting to become a legitimate reality at 11. Now, who knows if he gets there? The Seahawks were on the clock. We saw a report from Jeff Darlington today where Pete Carroll told Geno Smith, hey, like a quarterback is a possibility today. Just want you to know. They gave him a big $75 million deal. But, I mean, it now becomes whether or not Levis makes it to 11. Otherwise, there's just such a steep drop-off from that top tier to the next guys. I understand there's a lot of Vols fans watching Hendon Hooker. I mean, if you don't get Levis, who the Titans like, I know that the Titans really like Will Levis. But if you don't get Levis, you're sitting on your hands. Then Tannehill's contract comes off the books. Do you start a rookie next year? Do you see enough out of Malik Willis, who I'm very concerned about? It becomes really murky.
Man, who would have thought? We expected the AFC South to be the big storyline of this NFL draft, but not in the way that it has, right? We thought the Titans would involve themselves like this, where now it's the Texans doing it and the Colts getting Anthony Richardson. The fact that Will Levis is still there and not a Colt, I think is a scary situation for the Titans. Sam, I'll let you go ahead.
Well, I mean, this is the reality, right? So with how much Mike Vrabel has talked about becoming aware of how essential excellent quarterback play is and how we've seen that progress in the AFC, in the conference that has Aaron Rodgers now, Lamar Jackson now, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. I mean, the list goes on of excellent quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence. Now you add C.J.Stroud to the mix. You add Anthony Richardson to the mix. Where are the Titans? Is it Ryan Tannehill? Is it Will Levis? Is it a trade down for everybody's guy? And what would make the fan base happy is Matt says Hendon Hooker, please. I don't think Hendon Hooker is going to go at 11, but I mean, is a trade down likely? I can see a world where the Titans, and this is something that Rand talked about on Monday. Rand said, look, you want it to be at a position of need. You want best player available to be at that position and pounce on it. But if that opportunity is not there, you don't want to reach just to fill your need. You want to trade back and get a guy that you can feel is at the same caliber and available later on. Maybe that is the Titans here, right? Maybe that is where you're looking at either offensive line or quarterback. And while offensive line might be the smart pick, are we underwhelmed if it's an offensive lineman at 11 after all of the hype that kind of surrounded this team in this draft cycle?
Yep. Yeah, no doubt about that. Jack, what you got?
Tough. It's tough. Look, I'm really anti-trade back here. The Titans haven't picked this high since 2017, and to me, that doesn't feel like a long time ago, but it's 6 years ago. You don't necessarily,
and that was because they trade away their pick the year before that,
exactly.
Right? That was the Rams' first pick when they took Corey Davis at 5. Yeah.
So I hate the trade back idea. I know you need more picks. There's a lot of holes to fill. But, I mean, for me, it's quarterback, receiver, offensive tackle, cornerback. Those 4 positions absolutely have to be addressed at some point in the draft. Why I don't want to trade back is because even though the quarterbacks had their run, even though you missed out on one position, most likely, now they could still go Levis, Hendon Hooker, Waits could be in the second round for you. There is a player in this draft, and there are a couple players in this draft who can immediately have an impact as rookies, who fill positions of need, who will likely be there at 11.
Do you have those?
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
No.
I'll save the other one for later.
Okay, all right. So I'll let you go deeper into Jackson Smith and Jigba here in a second, because right now the broadcast is on a commercial break. The Seahawks have about a 1 minute left in their pick right now. So let me go ahead and take this time while we have a second to talk about one of our great sponsors here that is making our Titans draft coverage free for you guys, and that is Aura. Aura is all about keeping you guys safe online. Sam and I have both done this. You go to aura.com/ATOZ and they will give you a 2-week free trial to find out how many data brokers are sharing your information. I just pasted that link in there right there because when I signed up for Aura last week, 30 data brokers had my information and they were just selling my info to robocallers, telemarketers, junk mailers, all of these people that just annoy us on a daily basis and spammers and everything, right? So 30 of them had my info. Aura has already removed my info from 29 of them. So all but one. So our sponsor, Aura, will identify those data brokers exposing your information and automatically submit those opt-out requests on your behalf. Aura has almost every internet safety tool you'll ever need inside of one app. That's VPN, password manager, real-time credit and theft monitoring, parental controls if you need those. Let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online. Sign up right now. I'll do it again. Sign up right now, and Aura will give you a 2-week free trial right there with aura.com/ATOZ here live on our Titans draft coverage. The Seahawks pick is in. I got my read in there just over a minute. I was a little long on that one, but I have a clock that can track me now. So Jack, as we wait for the Seahawks pick, they're still in commercial break. Why do you think Jackson Smith and Jigba is an immediate impact right now?
He takes pressure off of Treylon Burks, who had an up and down rookie season. He gives you a vertical threat, which the Titans didn't have and haven't had since A.J. Brown left. I mean, when the Titans passing offense was humming, Ryan Tannehill was taking deep shots down the field. I remember every Titans fan, every radio show, every talk show, you pull up, oh, well, Ryan Tannehill's one of the most accurate deep ball passers. Well, that's because he had guys who could go up and make catches, contested catches down the field. They don't have that guy right now. Treylon Burks can be that guy. We saw flashes last year. Jackson Smith and Jigba is him. He is that guy. He can go make plays down the field. He opens up everything on offense. You're a one-trick pony right now. You've got Treylon Burks on the outside, and you're probably going to run the ball 30 times a game with Derrick Henry still. As the offense currently is, they need somebody to wake everyone up. They need an exciting presence on that offense. Somebody where the fans who don't go to the game, which you should all be going to the game, can turn on the TV and say, man, I can't wait to see what Jackson Smith and Jigba does today. That's the guy they got to go get. He's going to excite the fan base. He's a home run pick at 11. If he's there, now we've got a long way to go, and the Seahawks pick seems to be in.
All right, the Seahawks did select at 5 overall. Sam, this kind of goes up your alley, right? Cornerback from Illinois, Devin Witherspoon.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted on the record that the University of Illinois had a player picked before Vanderbilt or Tennessee. I just want to get that out there that the University of Illinois Fighting Illini on the board in the top 5.
When's the last time? I think I know the answer. When's the last time an Illinois player has been drafted this high? I think I know it.
I couldn't tell you.
I'm pretty sure it was Rashard Mendenhall back in the. I'm pretty sure it was like Rashard Mendenhall, like 20-something, which I think.
But that's not top 5. I mean, top 5 is.
That's what I'm saying. When's the other last Illinois? I mean, you go back to Brad Hopkins, our guy.
Hey, I don't know. Brett Bielema was building something special. That's all I know. We got to go. Defense is locked down. There's going to be a lot more Fighting Illini in this draft. I do want to get back to Jack's point, though, real quick, because I actually disagree. I'm very much in the other boat when it comes to Jackson Smith-Njigba, especially at number 11 overall. I don't think he separates himself as like a distinguished big difference between a guy like Zay Flowers, who the Titans like a lot and have told get used to Tennessee. So we know kind of how they feel about that guy. I like Jordan Addison as a pretty consistent option that you can get a little bit later in the draft. At 11, I think is the big spot where you can go get Paris Johnson Jr. or fill the hole with an elite offensive lineman. But is JSN that much separated from the rest of this wide receiver class that it warrants you not trading down? Because with the QBs off the board, this is a spot that the Titans can say, okay, we like Smith-Njigba, but we also like player B, player C, player D. Let's go add, a future pick. Let's go add, a couple more picks in this year's draft. I think you could get a good amount for a team that's going from, let's say it's Pittsburgh, 17 to 11 to go take an offensive lineman. I mean, you might be able to add another second rounder with that move.
It's a big jump.
Sorry, what'd you say?
It's a big jump to move up 6 picks like that.
Big jump. So, I mean, if you want to go back 7 spots, you can still get maybe the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 at that spot. Like, that's how the Titans start to reverse course here and come out looking like winners with Ran is, you add assets and fill a lot of the major holes that we know they still have.
Yeah.
All right.
To be fair, before you go, Austin, you asked me for the players. I'd assembled a group of players.
Hold on, you can hold on. Look. This is just we're on the 6th pick here. We got at least until 11.
I know.
We need to.
Sam.
Hey, I don't know if anybody watches The Office, but you got to take two brownies to your office and parse them out throughout the day. Jack, you've got your immediate impact players. We'll parse them out throughout the first round and not jump up too much. The Lions on the clock. Without under 5 minutes, the clock is stopped on the broadcast on ESPN. It's just sitting at 4:40. I don't know if that is a glitch or if that means the pick is in. They just haven't updated it yet. But this does feel like, and Jack, I can let you kind of talk a little bit more about it. But doesn't this feel like Jalen Carter, a good spot for him with Detroit? You've got Aiden Hutchinson, you've got what they think is a strong culture in Detroit that they can bring Jalen Carter in and. At 6th overall, which is their bonus first round pick, that can work out nicely.
Yeah.
We have a breaking news. The Arizona Cardinals have made a trade back to number 6. They're coming to get the Lions pick at 6. So maybe this is Monty Ossenfort, who just got extra picks, still landing a top defensive talent. If he wants to go get Jalen Carter here, we'll see.
Man, that's big time for the Lions. The Lions, they're one of the teams I cover at A to Z Sports. We are everywhere now. They
not quite,
almost everywhere. They needed either an interior defensive guy like Jalen Carter or a cornerback. Jeff Okudah just walked out of the door. They added a couple this offseason, but that pick was most likely going to be spent on a defensive guy. Now, if they like Christian Gonzalez, a cornerback out of Oregon, or think that Jalen Carter might slide a little bit, trading out of this pick makes sense, and only back to 12. They've also got the 18th overall pick in this draft. So the Lions are going to make plenty of noise in due time. But
Detroit's getting picks 12 and 34 from Arizona. So that pick that they had just got from Houston in the trade, they are now using to go.
No, that was 33.
Oh, so they
had 33 and 34. They kept 33 from the Texans and moved 34.
They moved 34 with 12 to go up to 6. That's a pretty good deal. I mean, if you're Monty Ossenfort there, you add basically 33 and then you lose 34 to go up to number 6 here. Go ahead.
Anything from next year in this trade?
No, it is 12 and 34 for pick 6.
All right. So basically, the Arizona Cardinals and Monty Austinfort, formerly the Titans front office, just went back from 3 to 6. They gained a spot in the second round, and they gained a first rounder and a third rounder next year.
A first rounder and a third rounder next year, and I believe they traded their fifth this year.
All right. So they moved back 3 spots, gave up a fifth this year, moved up 1 slot in the second round, and gained 2 high picks next year. That's pretty damn good to get either Tyree Wilson or Jalen Carter or whoever. That's some good moving there by a rookie GM.
Yeah, absolutely. Monty Austinfort showing he's got the chops for it. I mean, what are we expecting this to be? Jalen Carter here at 6. Rob Leeds had Detroit taking Tyree Wilson in this spot in our A to Z Sports mock draft. That was with Carter off the board. And of course, that was the Detroit Lions picking. So now Lions are no longer on the clock. The Cardinals are on the clock coming up at number 6. Anybody have a prediction for what we're about to see?
Jack, what do you think?
No idea. I'll just be honest with you. I think sometimes, everybody tries to be exactly right with the draft. I think sometimes it's best to just say, you know what? No idea. The Cardinals have so many holes. They could go in so many different directions. You've got DeAndre Hopkins who wants out, Budda Baker, a safety who wants out. They're picking right in front of the Raiders, who probably have a cornerback on their radar, although you can never really predict what the Raiders do. So the Cardinals, like the Titans, are in a position where there's no trends to go off of with their new GM in Austinfort. There's no tendencies we've seen because he hasn't been a GM in his own right yet. This pick could be, one of a handful of different things. I'm excited to see who it is. I'm hoping that it's a defensive guy.
Yeah, we're waiting for the official announcement.
Come on, you peaked. Who?
I can't not like I feel like I'm the one driving the show tonight, and it's my responsibility.
Go ahead. The chat can see it anyway.
Yeah,
you can go ahead and let it rip. I mean,
that's the hard thing is
okay.
The chat does it. I don't know if they had to do this, but the Arizona Cardinals did it. They moved up from 12, like we talked about, to get Paris Johnson Jr.
Wow.
So the number 1 offensive lineman off the board at 6 overall, with the Cardinals making their couple of swings here. And so that's 2 Bama players, 2 Ohio State players, an Illinois guy.
Let's put it on the board. Big Ten and SEC. Some people are saying who's the better conference. People are starting to ask questions.
No one is asking that question.
You're 3-3 at this point. People are starting to ask questions. That's all I'm saying.
Because Ohio State's the only thing
Sam,
Big Ten's got.
I saw
want you to keep a tab. Give us an update on the tab at the end of the first round.
I'm just letting you know. Right now, people are saying. That's all I'm getting.
Okay, in the first 4 picks, the SEC already tied the record for most first-round quarterbacks by a conference in the same round, in the same first round. And all they got to do is get Will Levis to go somewhere.
There could be 2 more.
Yeah, there could be 2 more. So we're not even going to get into a Big Ten versus the SEC conversation. I see John B in here. You're saying the Big Ten's a better conference. No, Ohio State's the better team compared to a lot of SEC teams, but not when it comes to the conference there. So Paris Johnson Jr. off the board now. I mean, this is a guy that we had looked at a lot for the Titans at 11. And so, there was a thought that the Titans could have 2 draft picks in back-to-back years of Ohio State offensive linemen with Nicholas Petit-Frere and Paris Johnson Jr., who Johnson Jr. filled that left tackle spot from NPF going to the Titans last year in the draft. And the number 1 offensive lineman off the board, Sam, this was a little higher than I expected it. I thought an opportunity for the Titans to trade back from 11 is because all of the O-linemen could still be on the board, but that's not the case here.
Not with Paris Johnson Jr. I think this is, I've been hearing this for the last few days now, that this guy was starting to get a lot of buzz and teams were looking at moving up to number 3 to take this guy. And ultimately the Arizona Cardinals said, you know what? We like him enough that we'll move back into at 6 and go get a need to protect Kyler Murray whenever he comes back and is healthy. I really like the player, a big guy with a lot of versatility, a lot of experience, just a lot of physicality, will come punch you in the mouth at the point of attack. We can roll some tape here as get a look at what Paris Johnson Jr. is bringing to the table in Arizona, but a guy that really would have fit in really well with the Titans. I got the sense he wasn't going to be there at number 11. And that kind of, was one of the reasons I thought a trade down was very possible. Turns out he goes pretty early at number 6 here. And the Titans are starting to, I think, run out of options for players that would be good fits at 11 at this point. Like, I feel like a trade down is making more and more sense unless Mike Vrabel's just that high on Will Levis.
Yeah, Sam, look, it's definitely a conversation at this point, seeing who's come off the board. There are a few players left. I've got 5 players worth drafting at 11. So, barring a miracle,
give me a second for this. You have 5. Are they still available? 5 players?
5 available players that would make sense. You're not reaching for any of these guys at 11.
We'll keep that in our back pocket because the Raiders have under 5 minutes left, and maybe we'll go like a couple at a time here. After this Raiders pick, we'll dive into those because there could be a trade up spot at 8 with the Falcons. So before we dive into all that, what you got there, we'll wait to see if the Titans stay and don't jump up to 8. The Raiders on the clock right now. Jack, I will say this, man, Dennis Daly just lost his job again, right?
God, who saw that coming? The Tennessee Turnstile relegated to the bench one more time.
Hey, what a good signing that was by Monty Ossenfort, though. I will say, for all the ridiculing that every Titans fan liked to have at Monty Ossenfort's expense when he signed Dennis Daly, he's putting on a show here in his first NFL draft. So Arizona, arguably probably the worst roster in the NFL. That is a luxury when you're a general manager with that pick, that you're like, hey, I can basically do anything and I want as many picks as possible. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm looking at Mel Kiper's big board right now. Best available: Jalen Carter, Will Levis, Bijan Robinson, Christian Gonzalez, the top 4 guys right there. And then Peter Skronski. The Titans will get one of those 5 if they want it, because they're within that range from 7 to 11, under 3.5 minutes for the Raiders on the clock. Jack, I'll start with you. What's the best scenario for the Titans with this Raiders pick at 7?
That's a good question. I think Christian Gonzalez would be the best case scenario for the Titans here if they go cornerback. And I believe that's him on the TV right now.
Yeah, they showed him there.
But yeah, I think Christian Gonzalez take away a player at a position you can address later in the draft. There's quite a few cornerbacks in here. And if you really want to trade back, Joey Porter Jr. then jumps into the equation if you want to go that route in the first round. But yeah, I think what would benefit the Titans most is going cornerback here. Or, Bijan Robinson's the biggest wild card in this draft. He could go, this would be a Raiders move to go here, or, even at Atlanta at 8, Philadelphia at 10. Who knows what the Bears do at 9 now that Johnson's off the board. So, Robinson or Gonzalez, I think, would be a big win for the Titans, and they need a win right now.
I think I agree. It's Christian Gonzalez. And for the additional reason that I want to see Jalen Carter get back to Chicago at 9. If that happens, Jalen Carter probably goes to Chicago, and that takes one less team that might be taking an offensive lineman off the board, out of the picture, right? The Titans don't have a need for Jalen Carter or a defensive player in the first round, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of fans' opinions. So if you can take a team that is taking offense and make them take defense by letting that prospect fall, that's good news to maybe let a Peter Skoronski slip a little bit later.
Yeah, I agree with you. Skoronski is an option. Darnell Wright, a lot of people in the last month, his stock has rose more than probably anybody's in this draft in the last few weeks. A lot of people think that not only is he a day one starter, but he could have Hall of Fame potential. And
okay. Not even look, Vandy fans saying Darnell Wright had Hall of Fame potential. I just want to put that on
if I have to sit here and listen to what's his name, Tannenbaum say that Hendon Hooker has Hall of Fame potential, I can say Wright has Hall of Fame.
Did Mike Tannenbaum say Hendon Hooker has Hall of Fame potential?
Check Zach Reagan's Twitter for that one.
No, all right, so this is an interesting question here from Titan 70, Austin. He says, who are your 5 that you just listed? It was Levis.
I got it here. It's scrolling now. Jalen Carter. I got to wait for the ticker. It's Jalen Carter, Will Levis, Bijan Robinson, Christian Gonzalez. And then I want to say the 5th one was Peter Skronski on, and that's Kuiper's big board. It's going super slow in this scroll.
Of those 5, can the Titans trade back and still get one of those 5? I would say no. I don't think so. I think you're going to start seeing Gonzalez. I mean, maybe you can get Bijan Robinson after a trade down, but like, he's not a guy that you're going to take. He doesn't fill a need for you. That doesn't do you any good. So I think Will Levis is going to go pretty soon. I think Christian Gonzalez is going to go pretty soon. I think Jalen Carter is going to go pretty soon.
My answer to what's the best case scenario for the Titans for what the Raiders do at 7, my best case scenario is for the Raiders to take Will Levis. Just get him out of here.
Really?
Just get him off the board so we don't even have to think about that.
Austin, you've inspired me to this, and this is where I'm at this point. I am all in on Will Levis.
I'm coming around myself.
No football reason. I mean,
entertainment purposes only. I
can't pretend like I know. Oh, hang on. We have a updated compensation from Tom Pelissero. I was incorrect with the Arizona compensation. Okay. We're now getting confirmation. 168 is in the trade, and then 6 and 81 is the return. So just a weird. Yeah,
weird trade. Anyway, it was not Will Levis, 7 to the Raiders. It is a very flashy looking rose. Oh man, that's sick. I mean, Tyree Wilson is like 6'7" and can wear that unbuttoned of a shirt and rock it like that. He's a big dude, freak athlete, and he is going to the Raiders at 7 overall out of Texas Tech, and that's pretty impressive for the Raiders to sit there at 7 and to go get a potential game changer on the defensive line to go along with Max Crosby and some others. So again, now 5 of those players of Mel Kiper's big board still available. The Titans are coming up. They're 4 picks away, right? So there's a chance they can get one of these. Will Levis is still there.
Well, I think this is fairly telegraphed at this point. I'm pretty confident Atlanta's going to go with Gonzalez here at 8. I think Chicago goes with Jalen Carter. So now the question is, where is Philly? But I don't think Philly is, really a threat to take either of the guys that Tennessee, maybe Philly takes Peter Skoronski. I mean, if they do that, you're really in a spot where it's, are you taking Will Levis or are you trading down? Or Jackson Smith and Jigba. I forgot Jackson Smith and Jigba. We'll see.
This brings it up because Big Ten Jeff is just complaining. Big Ten Jeff, we will read your super chats and your comments when they are relevant to the conversation that we're having. We're not just going to take a left turn just to get to something for Big Ten Jeff. But he does say this. Sam doesn't want JSN. He's made that very clear. And so, again, now that Sam brought that up, it's relevant for us to bring your comment in here, Jeff. So you can chill out. And now, Sam, you very clearly do not want Jackson Smith and Jigba. I will give you the floor.
I mean, I wouldn't say I don't want Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't want Jackson Smith and Jigba at 11. Point blank, period. I don't think he might be the best receiver in the draft. I think he is the best receiver in the draft, but not by a whole lot. And when you're not the best receiver in the draft by a whole lot, I think the Titans are in enough of a pinch at this spot that trading down, adding assets, and then getting a Jordan Addison or a Zay Flowers later on makes more sense for them in their current situation. I think it's a lot smarter to do that than take JSN at 11 when many people don't believe this is, the best wide receiver class that we've ever had. He has his own cons. So
I want to ask you this. Let's throw team needs aside, Sam. Best player available between Will Levis and JSN. Who you taking? Because, quarterbacks went early, but the need and it being the most, important position in professional sports, that plays into it. But best player available between Levis and JSN, that's probably the question that's being asked in the Titans war room right now.
I think it's JSN in terms of that, but it can't be necessary. I don't necessarily know if best player available is their mindset, especially when it comes to quarterback. BPA is a fine strategy for a lot of teams in a lot of different scenarios. But when you have the level of uncertainty the Titans do at QB, you have to weigh that a little bit heavier than you do with the rest of the picks. This is why, though, I'm not sure either one of those are good options. That this is the exact scenario that plays out in front of the Titans where Richardson is gone, Stroud is gone, Paris Johnson is gone, and you probably trade back, at least in my opinion. And I want to throw this up real quick because this is from our guy, James Foster over at A to Z Film Room, who kind of did breakdowns on all of the top players in the draft, including Jackson Smith and Jigba. You see a little bit of his rundown here is his recruitment, the strengths that James came up with. He sets up routes masterfully, quick route breaks, underrated speed, elite agility testing, catches the ball without breaking stride, concentration, coordination to make reception right off the break. So a guy that just is a crisp route runner that you believe can probably create some separation for you. But the weakness is he's limited to the slot/Z wide receiver. So he's never really going to be your X guy that can go and make a ton of plays for you downfield. He ran a total of 40 routes in 2022, lacks speed to be a deep threat in the NFL. So if this is the deep threat that Jack was mentioning earlier, I don't think this is your guy for that. I mean, this is a good guy that can get separation and make Treylon Burks that deep threat. But it's all about what the Titans are looking for in this number 2 to complement Treylon Burks and whether or not JSN fits into that bucket. I do think he's the best receiver, but the question you have to ask, he's the best receiver by how much? Is it worth potentially passing on an opportunity to add another second-round pick? And who knows, maybe a first-round pick next year. Like 17 to 11 is that big of a jump that you have to consider what you might be able to get elsewhere.
Man,
you're not getting a first round. You're not getting
on the board, especially with Will Levis on the board, right? Like a team might want to go get a quarterback. And so if Tampa Bay calls and says, we'll give you our 1 to come to 11 and get Will Levis, you pass on JSN 7 days a week.
Sam, the trade back situation. Okay, watching the Colts draft a quarterback in Anthony Richardson at 4, watching the Texans come away with 2 of the top 3 players, and the Jaguars, who are far and away the favorites to win the AFC South. You want the Titans to trade back? That cannot happen. You cannot trade back. There are a bunch of players.
Wow.
I think the Titans can draft right here.
Why?
I don't think you trade back.
All right,
Jack,
so
you have 6 holes. You have like 6 needs on this team now.
Well,
like,
Jack's got 5 guys he can take at 11 that'll fill one of those holes. No, all right, so
but I'd rather have 2 of those guys. I'd rather have 2.
I don't disagree with what Sam. I am a trade back person at this point.
Oh, gross.
If Will Levis is sitting there at 11, please try to move back and bait it, right? Like bait the rest of the league to take Will Levis before your trade back spot is my thought. So the Falcons pick is in at 8 overall. They will go with one of those top 5 players on Mel Kiper's big board. And the Atlanta Falcons is their pick at 8 is about to be announced.
The Eagles have traded up to the 8th spot. They've moved up 1 spot.
The Eagles?
The Philadelphia Eagles have traded up. Oh, sorry, with Chicago. They've traded up with Chicago from 10 to 9. So they will pick after the Falcons.
Yeah, because
they knew the Bears were shopping that.
The Falcons are about to have some guest announcers here on this pick. So this feels like, man, why would the Eagles just move up to 1 spot? I don't know who they're trying to get. Maybe is that
is it probably an O-lineman?
O-line or Bijan. Those are my only 2 thoughts.
Bijan it's Bijan if the Bears were starting to.
All right, here comes the 8th pick from the Atlanta Falcons, and then the Eagles move up from 10 to 9 after this one. Sitting here waiting. Eighth overall pick.
Who you got, Art Smith?
Wow.
Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas. Bijan Robinson goes 8th overall.
Big time win for the Titans.
You think so?
I think so.
I mean, you get that out of the way. Atlanta was messing around and going to take some of the guys that you wanted, maybe on the O-line or something. So,
and the Bears and Eagles back to JSN or Zay Flowers. Neither of those guys are taking a receiver.
That is an insane move by Atlanta, who had a rookie running back run for 1,000 yards last year. I'm just gonna say he's healthy and ran for 1,000 yards, and you're taking him 8 overall. Bijan Robinson's a game changer. He's a difference maker. That's wild.
I think the Falcons are sitting here going, well, we can take Bijan to help us find out about Desmond Ridder at quarterback, and like then you just got somebody who can score touchdowns. But I'm with you. I think for the Atlanta Falcons, who have a lot of issues, they did some pretty solid work in free agency. But man, that just seems like a luxury pick that Atlanta can't afford right now.
Yeah. I would agree. I mean, Jack, do you have thoughts on Bijan here? And like, what? So Philly just traded up. What is Philly doing this for?
This
like,
guy,
why
be
are they
Jalen
going
Carter.
to 9?
Absolutely has to be Jalen Carter for Philly.
Huh?
Yeah, that makes
interested.
sense. Actually,
it could be okay. So Chicago goes to 10. Okay. I mean, it could be Jalen Carter. Bijan's off the board. You still got Skoronski up there, who I know they like. Darnell Wright's still available. They had the only spot they really need to fill on the offensive line would be that left guard spot, and you could plug Skoronski in there, even though he played tackle at Northwestern. People are worried about the length of his arms. Now, Rashawn Slater, there's the same questions about him. He's panned out just fine for the Los Angeles Chargers. So I do think that Skoronski goes here, one in the next 2 picks, but I'm not sure where.
Yeah, well, the Eagles pick is in. We'll kind of see what happens here as the Eagles move up 1 spot from number 10 to number 9. Adam Schefter looks like he's about to give us some of that compensation on what the move is and some details there. But hey, guys, Arthur Smith is continuing to run out his plan of creating the Titans South, right? Desmond Ridder, his comp was Ryan Tannehill. You go get Kyle Pitts a year ago or a couple of years ago at this point, and you
sign half the Titans.
You sign every Titans player that doesn't come back. Yeah, and then you go get your running back who can be a game changer in Bijan Robinson to be your version of Derrick Henry. So again, if you're looking at that from that point of Arthur Smith is trying to get his stud running back who can be his play action piece to run play action to Bijan, to have Desmond Ridder to drop back and hit Kyle Pitts over the seam like we saw Jonnu Smith do several times. And you've got Drake London who can try to be what A.J. Brown is as a number 1. So again, Arthur Smith is trying to create Titan South, and he does it again with Bijan.
The Philadelphia Eagles have traded the number 10 pick and a 4th round pick next year to the Bears to move up 1 spot. So the Bears just add that extra pick. If this is for Jalen Carter, maybe it's the Bears, that weren't actually going to take him at number 9. And they said, hey, free pick in this like next year or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's a questionable move. If you're the Bears, though, they need help on the defensive line. And you are, opting out of maybe the most talented defensive player in the draft at number 9 overall. I mean, assuming that's the pick that comes with the Eagles right here. Wow.
Sam, I think the Bears could trade 10.
Oh, I think so too. I don't think they're safe at 10 at all.
And drop back to get Broderick Jones potentially on that right side of the offensive
quarterback on the board, right? I mean, that Will Levis falling makes a trade up by any of those teams in the late teens or early 20s very, very interesting. I mean, we've had the Minnesota rumors. We've had the, the New England rumors at times. We've had Washington rumors. So we will see. I don't know if we've gotten the Eagles pick yet.
I have not seen it.
A lot of Jalen Carter in the chat. That makes the most sense. And I actually think this could happen if they stick at 10. The Bears taking Peter Skoronski, which is then the other offensive lineman that, the Tennessee Titans could have taken at 11.
Yes, but just because Skoronski's off the board, that doesn't mean the Titans still don't have a great option available.
I think it does at 11.
Really?
At 11, okay. It does. Broderick Jones is not an 11th overall.
I'm not talking Broderick Jones.
All right.
Don't look at me with Darnell Wright.
Okay. Hold on. So we got to do this, right? Because Jack, you've got 5 players that are still on the board the Titans can take that would be day 1 impacts. I will go ahead and say that the Eagles are taking Jalen Carter at number 9. The Bears then on the board at number 10. The Titans at 11. So, Jack, now I will let you begin your 5 players still on the board for the Titans at 11 that you think will have a day 1 impact.
I think I wrote this down when we were just past the 6th pick. Okay. All 5 players are still here. I'll go by position. O-line, you've got Darnell Wright, Peter Skoronski. Sam, can you contain yourself
I mean,
So
what
I get this-
Skoronski, I'm all for. Darnell Wright, I don't think fits their needs right now, especially not at 11.
Okay, you've got more options. You've got
So Skronski and Darnell Wright. Those are your first two.
Smith and Jigba, Zay Flowers. Both fine options at receiver.
Neither one of those guys should go to 11.
Then you have Will Levis.
That seems
you like Levis.
I like it. Of the picks at 11, that's the one that at least makes sense in my brain. I like Peter Skoronski as well. But those other three, I'm not sure I like at all. They feel like you're reaching at 11 because you panicked that everybody that was at your position group was off the board. So, like, I ask you again, Darnell Wright at 11 or Broderick Jones at 17, who'd you rather have?
Yeah, I think I would have Jones and then the extra capital at 17 if you're going offensive lineman. Now, for the Titans to sit at 11, this is about as perfect as the board could have fallen outside of Anthony Richardson being available. I mean, you have all of these players at positions of need.
The board has fallen horribly for the Titans.
Yeah,
just because the quarterbacks wouldn't be available at 11.
Titans we're targeting have come off the board. I don't
like who. I mean, outside of the quarterbacks, Paris Johnson at 6, he was never going to make it to the Titans at 11.
Well, and I think you're about to get Peter Skoronski off the board at 10. I mean, I don't think this is the ideal draft. I mean, this could also be, by the way, the Bears trade out of 10, this could be a team coming to get JSN right from under their noses. And then what?
Wow. So you're saying that a team might value JSN as a top 10 pick?
I think a team might. Do I?
Okay.
No, but a team could hypothetically draft him here.
Oh, man, this is fun. I'm just kind of sitting back and letting you guys go. I like this. This is great. Mitchell saying you guys making him laugh. All right, so we're sitting here as the Bears pick is already in, guys. So the Titans are on the clock at number 11 overall. We are officially just over 1 hour into the show here. So sending out a tweet as we are Titans on the clock at 11 here, A to Z Sports. This is our live Titans draft coverage. I'm Austin Stanley with Sam Phelan, our Titans reporter at A to Z Sports.com, and then Jack Gentry, the Titan Up podcast, and also NFL writer at A to Z Sports.com. Do want to quickly, before the Titans get on the board, tell you guys about our great sponsors. We've talked about Aura already. Aura.com/ATOZ is where to go to be safe online. I'm also going to drop this link in the chat right here for HelloFresh, because HelloFresh is sending us meals early next week. But HelloFresh, go check them out, and they will give you 50% off and free shipping on your first box if you use our code ATOZ50 at this link, HelloFresh.com/ATOZ50. That's code ATOZ50, 50% off, plus your first box ships free at HelloFresh. And Holiday World Splashin Safari. Go check them out this summer for all your family fun. Tickets at holidayworld.com. So the pick is in for the Bears. The Tennessee Titans are officially on the clock. I see the Bears pick.
Yeah,
the Bears did pick one of Jack's players. Sam, you are a Chicago native.
I don't see the pick.
All right. What
You're not
do
going to
you
like
think?
it.
What do you think the Bears did here,
Don't
Sam?
tell me they took JSN.
No.
Oh, thank God. Because Bears fans have been wanting that, and that is just not a position to need right now. What did the Bears take? Did they take Darnell Wright? That makes more sense for the Bears, actually. They need a right tackle.
There he goes.
Yeah, that makes some sense for the Bears, who they need a plug-and-play right tackle. It doesn't make sense for the Titans, who have a gap at left guard, Jack.
You just said that right at 11 would be a reach. I just wondered.
I think the Titans have a gap at right tackle.
You think Nicholas Petit-Frere is your right tackle?
For now.
just because he's the only right tackle.
Am I in the twilight
because
zone
of default?
Their starting left guard is Jamarco Jones, and we're sitting here talking about taking a right tackle. What are we doing?
Well, Skoronski's there. If you want to, you can kick him inside at left guard if you want.
I think it's a great pick. I think Skoronski here is a very fine pick at 11. It's not exciting, but I think, it fills a need. So
I love the options up there. Now, looking behind the Titans, if you're talking trade back, there's 4 or 5 teams that would, there's reason to believe that they could go up and get Levis. You've got New England at 14. Washington at 16, the Bucks at 19, Seattle at 20, and Minnesota at 23. All of those teams, Rand Carthon should be on the phone with here in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be getting calls if somebody's serious about it here. Where have you guys seen the Bears pick yet? Because that is not coming through my Twitter timeline right now.
I saw it on 3 was where I first saw the Bears pick.
Interesting. Good for on 3 there. I have not seen anything.
SEC, it makes a ton of sense, right?
Well, yeah, I guess that. Yeah, but how would they get it? I mean, you get it from the team. You're not getting that from the player right now.
I mean,
Vandy
you can get it where you can get a bunch of different places. Okay. Who is scared? Guys, I am flat out terrified that Will Levis is going to be the pick for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I'm here for
should be.
I'm the Elmo meme right now. I'm just get chaos. I want chaos.
I truly believe it's a legit possibility here. I mean, I think that they really like him.
Can we talk about Christian Gonzalez still being available too? I mean,
if they go corner, even though Gonzalez has slipped and would we're talking best player available.
That would be a tough spot because I mean, you don't need a corner now. You might need one. You need one next year, but I mean, that is a guy that is a pick and play and can be on an island with the best in the game right there. I'm fairly surprised he's still here at number 11 now.
I'm with you.
With the Bears moving on Darnell Wright. Now, I thought it was a real possibility that the Bears would have taken a corner had one of those 2 top guys fallen to them at number 9 or 10. And so.
Yeah, I just think that from the Titans perspective, you can't draft defense right here.
So, yeah, Ian Rappaport says what I kind of thought with the Bears trade, that the Bears are taking Darnell Wright, but it was the guy that they were going to take at number 9 had they stuck there. So they, made the move to go back and get their guy.
Austin, I want to ask you a question. You're anti-Levis. That's documented.
Yeah.
If Roger Goodell walks onto that stage and speaks into the microphone, the Tennessee Titans select Hendon Hooker, how would you feel about that?
That they missed a massive opportunity to trade back and get more picks?
Okay. I just want you on record.
Ask me that question and replace Hendon Hooker's name with Will Levis.
Okay, Austin, if Roger Goodell said the Tennessee Titans select Will Levis,
they missed a massive opportunity to trade back and get more picks.
Okay, he's consistent.
And I don't think Will Levis should be
I don't think I disagree on Levis. I don't think you're missing an opportunity to draft him later in the draft if you don't take him now. Somebody's going to come up and get him soon.
I don't care. I think you're betting on that and you bait them. Like I said earlier,
the pick is in. The Titans pick is in. What are we doing here? We need to come up with a plan. Are we saying it when we see it? Or we can't.
I will take care of it.
Austin leads here.
I see it.
You see the
see
pick?
I'm not going to look.
The Tennessee Titans at number 9 are selecting Peter Skronski.
Are you serious?
Yes. Peter Skronski will go number 9 to the
11.
Number 11 to the Tennessee Titans. They're going offensive line. They have their left guard. My Chicago guy. I'm happy with it. Fills a need. Let's go, baby.
All right, we'll reset. Buck Rising, you said the first with this that you saw it. So Buck Rising of A to Z Sports and of 104.5 The Zone. Titans select at 11th overall, Peter Skoronski, offensive lineman out of Northwestern. The first time a Northwestern player has gone high in a while. So guys,
Big Ten count.
Yeah. So look, this is probably the most wet blanket, warm, gross feeling that you could have after all of the hype. Diana Rossini, they're going to go get their guy at quarterback. We talked about that this morning, Sam, and you sit at 11, you watch the AFC South get more dynamic with C.J.Stroud, with the Texans being aggressive and doubling down on Will Anderson, and the Colts getting Anthony Richardson. The Titans sit and pick and get Peter Skronski at 11th overall. Look, last time they were at 11, they got Taylor Lewan, and that worked out pretty well. But Jack, how are you feeling?
Not great. It just felt like Rand Carthon, this was his time to make a splash. The Texans kind of kicked you in the butt, said, hey, do something big. Here's what we're doing. We're going 2 in the top 3. The Colts kicked you in the butt, said, hey, we got our quarterback. What about you? Skoronski at 11, I get that it feels a need. I still don't really know where they're going to plug him in. I mean, he could play tackle. He could play guard. We don't know. Sure, he feels a need. Which need? I'm not so sure of. This has I just feel like I've been teased and led on.
Is that a bad thing, though, that you don't know where he's going to fill? Because, I mean, versatility. I would want at all. I mean, versatility.
Top 11 pick. I want to know what the plan is with him. Like we won't know what the plan is with him probably until training camp, right?
I think you can plan that'll be on the left side, and he'll either be your left tackle or your left guard, depending on who of him and Andre Dillard look better over there. And I think that it's safe. But I'm not necessarily shocked that it's a safe move, considering how the board fell in front of them and what we know about the Titans cap situation, expiring contract situation, lack of draft pick situation, to see them be a little safer and just go fill the need.
Underwhelming, though, right? We can all agree.
Extremely.
Should be underwhelming with all of the quarterback hype out there. If they would have stuck at 11 and kind of nipped the QB rumors in the butt early on and then taken Skoronski, I wouldn't blink twice. I'd be very happy with it. And I think Titans fans should too. Don't let the disappointment of not getting C.J.Stroud cloud your judgment for what Peter Skoronski is in a vacuum for the Titans.
Go ahead, Jack.
I just think from a Titans fan, this draft I thought was a great opportunity to reset as an organization, to make Titans football watchable again. You have an opportunity to do that with a quarterback or receiver. I understand that the quarterback you wanted in Stroud got plucked at too, but I mean, to me, you want to reinvigorate this offense. You want to make it exciting. An offensive lineman, I don't know, does that. And I understand. Look, you want all the help Henry can get up front. And no matter who's playing quarterback, you need a group to block for him. But Henry's pushing 30, and Tannehill's on his way out. So not only are you going to be stuck with, you could still find a quarterback in the second round, third round here, but not only are you going to be starting over next season. If they don't address a quarterback in this draft, you're going to draft a rookie next year to play. You're going to draft a rookie quarterback to play. You're not going to have a year of experience behind whoever. And let's face it, the Titans won 7 games without Tannehill down the stretch. There's no guarantee that they pick as high as 11 next year. There's no guarantee they pick in the top half of the draft next year. So this was your chance to make a splash, and you draft Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern. I don't know.
Yeah, it just sounds boring, right? And so I want to go to this because I saw this comment, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it again. Devin, our guy Devin, Rand is a moron. Look, I don't think Rand Carthon is a moron. I think that's a completely ridiculous overreaction by Devin, who watched this show all the time, saying that Rand Carthon is a moron. Guys, and Jack, I think you would agree with me on this. Rand Carthon taking Peter Skronski at 11 feels a lot like John Robinson taking Jack Conklin at 8 overall in 2016. Yeah, the first pick John Robinson ever made was Jack Conklin. The first pick Rand Carthon ever made was Peter Skronski. That is a safe, fundamentally sound, hardworking, high floor, maybe not super high of a ceiling offensive lineman that can help you immediately. It's boring as hell. It's not going to sell any tickets. It's not going to do anything for A to Z Sports. It's not going to do anything for the Titans when it comes to PR and media attention. But it's a good football pick.
I understand it.
But when you dress it up with they're going to do everything they can to go get their quarterback, when they dress it up with they've got to have a wide receiver because the only free agent wide receiver you bring in is Chris Moore, and then you go with Peter Skronski and you don't try to trade back, that's where you feel like you're just sleeping with a wet blanket. Although Peter Skronski will probably be a pretty good football player for the Titans as they open up that new stadium in 4 seasons.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's just when you look around in the AFC South, everybody's got these shiny new toys, and you buy like a new coffee maker.
Sometimes you have to build the foundation, though, which is not fun, and it's not, what we wanted to be talking about. I was hoping that I'd have my eye black on tomorrow thanks to the magic bucket. And, we'd be talking about a quarterback. We're seeing, I see a couple messages in the chat that say like we could have traded back. I don't think you get Peter Skoronski and like after trading back, like he was going right around this area. He definitely would have gone to, I believe the Jets, at 15. So unless you were moving back just a few spots, like this is not a guy you were getting later. And if you thought really highly of him, right? I mean, this is the guy to go get.
And the problem is, he's probably going to be a guard. So if you're trying to trade back, the price for a guard isn't that of a left tackle if Darnell Wright was available. I don't know. It's tough. I'm just disappointed with it, to be quite honest. I don't think that'll fade either. I'm just disappointed. I don't know.
Oh, Valentino, typical Titans BS. All right, so we're going to continue to react to Peter Skronski here as he officially has been announced as the 11th overall pick. The draft was moving fast, guys, there for a bit, and we had a slowdown there with the broadcast. And then right now we're seeing Rand Carthon flanked by Amy Adams-Strunk and Mike Vrabel, both looking a lot happier this year in the first round of the draft than they were last year in the first round of the draft. So look, they get a football player that they think can help them quite a bit. So we'll ask you guys this, and we'll get more to the chat here, Sam. I'm going to have Sam, you go to the chat to talk about this, but what's one word to describe the drafting of Peter Skronski in the first round of the draft? What is one word to describe the drafting of Peter Skronski by the Titans at 11 overall? So Sam, I'll let you send that into the chat, and then I'll let you, while the chat is filing this in, Sam, we did have this prepared. How about that? How about being prepared ahead of time? So Sam, take us through what we know. This is from James Foster, A to Z Sports Film Room, about the Titans' first round pick, Peter Skronski.
Yeah, this is Peter Skronski, listed as a guard on this sheet, but some believe that he does have the versatility to move outside and play tackle at the next level out of Northwestern. Played against the Big Ten, so had some pretty good competition, good defenses, took some good reps against Lucas Von Ness, among other players during his time at Northwestern with the Wildcats. Smooth pass sets, plays with some proper width in his base, consistent hand placement, arrives at aiming point under control, generates adequate power from his lower half, potential 5-position versatility along the offensive line. That's a big one that I'm sure we are going to hear Mike Vrabel, Rand Carthon, and the Titans talk about when they recap what they liked about this guy is his ability to hop anywhere on the offensive line. And for a group that hasn't had a ton of depth in recent years, that's a big get for them. The weakness is some short arms, vulnerable to long arm moves because of those short arms and lack of size, and lacks counter to rip move. Those are some of the reasons why you feel like Peter Skronski might be better suited as a guard at the NFL than a tackle if he doesn't have that length. But overall, positional versatility and a round one grade from our guy James Foster at A to Z Film. And meanwhile, the Detroit Lions have selected a running back, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Ooh,
in the
that's
draft.
pretty wild. Who would have thought? Wait, what year is this? What year is this where 2 running backs go in the top 12? Pretty wild there.
Top 12. Wow.
I think they're out on DeAndre Swift up in Detroit.
Yeah, it seems like it. All right, Sam, I'm going to send you to the chat here in a second to read the comments. We asked the question, what's one word to describe the Titans taking Peter Skronski at 11th overall? But once again, let me remind you guys about HelloFresh, great sponsor here of our draft coverage all weekend long. And you guys can win and get great meals with HelloFresh. So go to HelloFresh.com/ATOZ and use that code ATOZ50. So that's HelloFresh.com/ATOZ50 with that code to get 50% off your first order and free shipping on that first box. HelloFresh keeps your taste buds on their toes with 40 recipes and over 100 seasonal convenient items to choose from each week. With so much variety, there's options for everyone and every lifestyle. So no worries if you're not a pro in the kitchen. HelloFresh has foolproof recipes and arrive pre-portioned and easy to prepare. I know this. I did this in the draft last year, made my draft meals so much easier with HelloFresh. Sam, Jack, and I were excited about getting our meals early next week from HelloFresh. So check this out. Go to HelloFresh.com/ATOZ50 and use code ATOZ50 for 50% off, plus first box gets free shipping right there. HelloFresh.com/ATOZ50. Sam, I'll let you go to the chat. One word to describe the drafting of Peter Skronski.
John says it's boring. Elo says it's safe. Atha says it is solid. We have winner, typical, reach, putrid. That's what Daylon's coming with. Safe, necessary, safe. A hyphenated no weapons from Jeff Rubel here. We have a needed from Eric. We've got an expletive from Andre that I will not be putting up on the stream. We got to keep it clean in here, Andre. Come on now. We have boring from Rob, solid from Billy Jones. We have a typical from Jabu, blue chip. Very good point. We'll come back to that, actually. I'm going to give that a star, and we'll come back to that from Pierre. Smart, conservative, strong, safe, scared, tightened, necessary, pathetic, smart, safe, mid, solid, not sexy, but necessary, decent, expected, boring, need, snoozer. We're like all over the place. It's either people are asleep, they think it's a snoozer, that it's boring, or that this was a safe, solid pick. I think I'm in the safe, solid pick. You guys are a little bit put to bed by this. But I do want to get to this comment from Pierre, Austin, because Rand said this on Monday, what the Titans were looking for at 11 and what he kind of considered to be the opportunity to get a blue player or a blue chip player, a guy that can come in and contribute right away. That is Peter Skoronski, a guy that will start for the Titans and should start 17 games for them, provided he's healthy on their offensive line. So maybe, reading between the tea leaves, not a huge surprise that the Titans went with the day one contributor at pick 11.
Jack, I'll ask you that question. What's one word to describe the Titans taking Peter Skoronski at 11th overall?
Scared. I think it's scared. I think that, look, and I understand it, but I think that Rand Carthon was scared to make a splash because of the sins of John Robinson. You can't go 3 out of 4 drafts, and Treylon Burks, the jury's still out on him. You can't go 3 out of 4 drafts and miss your first-round pick. Caleb Farley and Isaiah Wilson, that had to be in the back of Carthon's mind and definitely was in the front of Vrabel and Amy Adams Strunks. He's a day one starter. Again, where? Not so sure yet. It's safe. You know what you're getting in the guy. There's really, there's not a whole lot to figure out about Skoronski. Whereas you draft JSN and you may not get the return that you'd like to see. Will Levis, huge gamble. I just think that Rand Carthon and the Titans played this a little scared. There were big waves all around them. They sat still.
I don't think
I got to push back on this. Yeah, I'm not using the word scared. What are we talking about?
I think it's more of like a. I think it's
to make another mistake.
No,
what mistake? He's never made a mistake. It's a new GM.
The Titans have made mistakes,
but
I think he's.
I John Robinson in the past. This is a new guy. This is a new guy.
I get.
You can't leave John Robinson in the past. You can't
do it. Jack. He doesn't work for the team anymore.
But I get where Jack is coming from.
Players he drafted
it was I wouldn't say scared. Maybe like passive is a word.
Safe is the fine word. He took a reliable starter and it's a safe option. He still has a lot to build before the Titans are ready to compete at the next era, right? They might be good this year and they're getting day one contributors to potentially compete this year. But for this new wave of like a new quarterback, a new whatever, to do that, you have to make C.J.Stroud wasn't available. Bryce Young wasn't available. So if you didn't feel highly about the other two quarterbacks, which clearly they didn't because they didn't move to get Richardson and they didn't pick Levis when he fell into their lap at 11, you're building for the next guy that comes in probably next year or whenever. So we can't call it scared, though. It's a first draft. He's been in the seat for 2 months.
Yeah, I think scared is not the right word, but I get where you're coming from because, yes, Rand Carthon still has to clean up the mess from John Robinson. Even though J-Rob's not in the building and he's a different person, the offensive line was a complete disaster. And the reason why there's a need for offensive line in 2023 to take an offensive lineman in the first round is because Dylan Radins, who I think lives in my neighborhood, because I think I saw him walking his dog the other day, but he is off an ACL, and he has not been very good as a top 55 pick in the draft by John Robinson. We all know what the heck Isaiah Wilson was, a complete flop. And Taylor Lewan tore his ACL for the second time in 3 years and is elsewhere doing podcasts. Like he wants to go with, pro and something other than sports, like they talk about with college in NCAA commercials. So and Ben Jones is also elsewhere, right? So you don't want to pay Nate Davis what he was worth in the open market. So I get where that word is. I do think it's interesting on that, but guys, my one word, I thought about this because, as you guys were talking, I wanted to go last so I could put my thoughts together. So I mentioned this morning when I texted Jim Wyatt my pick, I had a dream Saturday night and I woke up Sunday morning with what I thought would happen with the Titans at 11 overall. I took out a sticky note and I wrote that down. And I was praying that dream would not come true because some would call it a nightmare. And I'm relieved, my one word, relieved to say that Will Levis is not the Titans quarterback of the future. Not Will Levis, no matter what. Not Will Levis, no matter what. That is my one word, relieved that Will Levis is not in Nashville as the Titans quarterback because that would have been a nightmare. My dream did not come true. And I am fine with Peter Skoronski, even though I would have preferred for the Titans to trade back to get more. Peter Skronski, it makes sense, and I'm relieved that it's not that banana peel eating mayonnaise cream in his coffee quarterback out of the bluegrass state.
Hey, he hasn't been drafted yet, Austin. You're not out of the woods just yet here. Green Bay has moved up to not Green Bay. Green Bay selected Lucas Van Ness at 13. So a wide receiver needy team passed on Jackson Smith and Jigba.
For him too.
Imagine that. Here we go. They move up to get Lucas Van Ness. We have New England moves back to 17. Pittsburgh moves up to 14. Their pick coming. Andre throws some $5 here and says, it feels like a concession. Yeah, he can be a solid starter. Yay. Texans ruined plans and they froze. Gonzalez helps cornerbacks trade back preferred. I don't know if this is fair. To say that they froze again. Like, we don't know what the Titans draft board was. This might have been the guy that they pinned as a blue chip guy from the beginning that they were more than happy with drafting at 11. Do I think they would have moved up and gotten Stroud at 3 if he was available? I do, yes. They won't say that now, especially now that it didn't happen, but I do think that was something that they would have considered doing and would have done. Just because Houston did that plan doesn't mean the Titans froze. It means this is how I would describe it, because this is what this draft was for so many teams. Every scenario was an if-then scenario. It was not the Titans had a plan coming in. It was, if this is how the draft falls in the first 2 picks, this is this is what we do. If C.J.Stroud is off the board, then we wait and see if Peter Skoronski is there. If he is gone, then we trade. It was a series of if-thens that led the Tennessee Titans to finding a guy that I'm sure they're very happy with as a day 1 starter at number 11 overall. I understand the frustration. My number 1 word, solid. This is a solid pick. It's a solid player. He's going to be solid, and he's going to be here for the next quarterback and the next era of Titans football.
But could you not have found a solid starter at left guard deeper in the draft?
I think he is. I think he can play tackle. I think he can play tackle. You don't find many guys that are solid at 5 positions and are the pinnacle of health. The Titans needed offensive line. They got who I thought was the best one available, maybe the best one in the draft class at 11, and he fills an immediate need. I think that's important.
Yeah, like I totally understand it. I just
don't like it. You understand it. You just don't like it, nor do you want it.
Yeah.
I mean, and we have people saying,
you got to shore up.
Who's the next QB answer? I can answer that, but can you? I mean, what did you want them to do in that spot, right?
You kick the can down the road.
You can't sit here and be a Titans fan acting like somebody kicked your puppy because you want a quarterback and then be like, oh, no, but not that quarterback. No, I only want the ones going first and second overall. You can't do that. So you either wanted Will Levis and didn't get him, or zip it and take your solid offensive lineman.
Yeah, no, Will Levis would have made sense to me. I wouldn't have really complained about that, but I just think that, you want to start a new era of Titans football. This is your reset. This is a chance to, in with the new and out with the old, and you go offensive linemen. You're throwing to guys like Treylon Burks, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. God help Kyle Phillips get healthy and get on the field. I mean, that's seriously what I mean. Those are your options.
And here's the problem, right? Because Donald said he said I wanted Anthony Richardson at 3, right? And that's the problem. The Texans screwed you twice.
That's what I wanted too, but it wasn't there. Oh, wait.
The Texans screwed you twice.
I didn't want Anthony Richardson there, but,
Ooh, Jack, would you have preferred to have Anthony Richardson at 3 and giving up everything it takes to go up from 11 to 3? Or would you prefer Peter Skronski at 11 like you got? Now, I'll let you think on that a second because I like the way we set this show up. Because we've got me, I've been covering this team for now a decade. Sam, who's in the building nearly every day and every media availability. Sam's there. He'll be there tomorrow afternoon when Peter Skronski has his press conference. And then we have Jack, the Tighten Up podcast, that you guys are different, right? You guys are quirky, the fun-loving fan podcast.
I've been around here for what?
No, I know. No, you've been around here you're a diehard Titans fan. Yeah. You grew up bleeding this stuff, right? So we got 3 different perspectives. And so I get where Sam's coming. I get where you're coming from, Jack. So, Jack, I'll rephrase the question. Would you have rather gotten Anthony Richardson at 3, giving up all of that to go get him, or Skronski right here at 11?
Richardson at 3. I truly think that it was Richardson or Stroud. You go up and get one of those guys. I mean, again, we talked about it at the top of the show. The price you pay to go up and get a quarterback is the price you pay. If it works out, nobody's going to care what you gave up. So, sure, Skoronski makes all the sense in the world. He's safe. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't really move the needle in this offense, which is trying desperately, apparently. You hear this, but you don't see it, to transition into a more pass-happy offense, to air it out a little bit more. You've got Derrick Henry, but for how much longer? You got to have a good situation for a rookie quarterback to walk into, because when you if you don't get a guy in the second round, you're probably going to have to restart and, go through the same process next year and talk about trading up again. But I just really think that they could have helped him out by, maybe getting a guard in the second or third round and finding a weapon here. So that's my opinion.
Anthony Richardson wasn't going to play for the Titans this year regardless.
Well, no quarterback they would have taken was.
Probably not. I think it's important then to establish that, by the time these quarterbacks will play for the Titans next season, 2024, or would have, they are going to have another opportunity to get the quarterback of the future in the draft, in free agency, in the trade market. And now you are at least building something where a rookie is not on an island. He's not throwing to Treylon Burks, and that's it. Because, by the way, moving up to get Anthony Richardson costs you pick 41 as well. 41 as well.
And so, more, right? Because the Texans had to give up 33. Yeah.
And next year, so you probably give up your second this year and your one next year. So you've got this guy now throwing to Treylon Burks, and that's it, with no picks in sight. So at least now, if you're getting the guy next year, you are building an offensive lineman in round 1. I expect we'll hear a wide receiver called at 41 tomorrow night, and that will be where they go with that second pick in the draft. And you start to put pieces around him where you're helping your guys' development at the same time.
Yeah, I don't have the number in front of me. Sam, if you could, do you know off the top of your head Titan salary cap space for 2024?
Last I looked, it was up over $100 million. I mean,
$100 million.
Yeah,
to fix these issues. So it's not the end of the world if, he doesn't have the offensive line, necessary right now. If the Titans don't have that, you can go out and spend a lot of money on that.
But you're going to overpay, right? So I think there is a time and place for free agency where free agency. I mean, I can quote you the average value, the AV added per $1 million, and how the Titans have been dead last in it under John Robinson when they were spending big money in free agency to try and fill all of their needs. So they were getting the least bang for their buck of any team in the league because they were trying to sign these lucrative deals to patch holes. That's backwards. Like, you do it through the draft and build a core. You go spend the money when you're ready to complement those pieces.
I don't know. I just don't think that there's one specific way you have to do it. You can go out and spend money on offensive linemen, which makes more sense than going out and overpaying for wide receivers like the Titans have in the past. It's to me, I just wanted a splash pick here, whether it was a quarterback or a wide receiver.
But you don't make a splash to make a splash. Like, I know it's exciting.
You make a splash to improve the team, to improve the worst wide receiver core in the NFL. That's why you make a splash, not to just put butts in seats, but to make the actual team better at something that they haven't been good at. That's why you make the splash at receiver.
Yeah, but I guess I was referring to the Anthony Richardson, where you said, like, for people that would say, well, I'd rather have Richardson at 3 and trade all those picks to go get the quarterback than take the safe thing. Like, I'm not sure how that makes your team better, especially not immediately.
I think
not
so.
Trying to win now, though, Sam.
Well,
last season.
You're trying to do both.
Now
is what Skoronski lets you do, and it's what the Titans are trying to do. This is the blend of Phil's immediate need that allows the Titans to compete with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry and Kevin Byard that are all kind of coming up on these expiring deals, and Mike Vrabel stays competitive while also giving Rand Carthon a piece into his offense and on his offensive line that he can then build around next offseason when he has money to spend and more draft picks.
It puts a lot of pressure on the 41st overall pick.
Yes,
that's true. I think they have to go receiver. I do think they have to go receiver.
And if they go receiver there, I'll be a little relieved. I think that will help because there are receivers you can find in the second round here that can help you out next season.
So I don't know. Titan 70 comes in with a good comment here. This summarizes a lot of what I've been kind of saying here, but you can't put the cart before the horse. You got to get solid before you get sexy. Pete is a good pick. I think, that's a good point of how roster construction works in today's league. You get solid, you bring a quarterback, you bring the sexy pick into something solid, and, it can work unless you're finding a guy that is joining, a core that you then like splurge on. It might work for a little bit. Like, this is the way that you build it. Let's see. We got Bruce coming in. First shout out to A to Z. Titans need to go to number 3 for AR-15. Not because Stroud was picked at 2, because AR-15 was his quarterback pick. Trade rumors are usually true, and we decided to avoid DeAndre Hopkins. Houston quickly adjusted. I guess this is an argument I'll hear, right? If you were bullish on Anthony Richardson, and I liked Anthony Richardson as a prospect, but to be the third quarterback off the board, to give up what they would have had to give up to go get him, they're red flags. But, I appreciate Bruce with the $5 or the $10 there and talking about his person here.
Yeah. It is interesting of what this does because, and Sam, you and I are going to be on the show tomorrow morning and we're going to be able to react to a lot of what's happening. And I know there's a press conference that's getting set to go right now at St. Thomas Sports Park, and Buck Rising is there for us at A to Z Sports, reacting to Peter Skronski being picked 11th overall. But what does this mean for the future? What does this mean for Ryan Tannehill? What does this mean for Derrick Henry and the next year quarterback? All of these things we'll have to discuss once we have time to breathe and let it go. And so Sam or Jack, go ahead, Jack.
I hope they've got pillows and blankets for that press conference. I mean, the only thing I'm interested in from hearing about what comes from tonight is what was on the table. Did they pick up the phone? Did they try and get to 3? Did they try and trade back at 11? That's what I want to know. I mean, this Skoronski, I don't really, he's not interesting to me.
He's not interesting, but it doesn't mean he's the wrong pick.
Well, unfortunately, we won't know that by the time we close the show tonight. We'll know.
Yeah, man, but this is you never know, right? I mean, you can be excited, but you're not going to know until you see 4 years down the road whether or not this guy's going to pan out. This is a problem that fan bases struggle with, I think, in the NFL is drafting an offensive lineman can be very boring. It's not the buzz that you want at, a skill position or a quarterback, but sometimes it is the necessary evil that builds, a perennial playoff contender that can do a lot of creative things on offense.
I see Max says their job isn't to make it exciting for you. Sure, it's not. But I think that everyone can agree who's watched this team for, a handful of years. They have never had a passing offense that works. They did with A.J. Brown.
And 2020 was pretty dang good.
You know what I think Mike Vrabel's going to find exciting? When Derrick Henry's running through a wide open C gap and he gets into the second level because Peter Skoronski.
2 more years?
Sure, for this year and for the next running back that you bring in. I think that's exciting for Mike Vrabel. Thinking about how much he's going to be able to run the football with Peter Skoronski on his offensive line, and hopefully what he can do in pass protection for the next quarterback as well.
All right, so Jim Wyatt tweets this from Rancarthon. There wasn't much conversation when the team was on the clock at 11. It was an easy decision, he said.
Yep. I saw Ran added on that he thought Skoronski would be gone at 11. Happy to see him there when the team picked, was a target of theirs all along, but they didn't think he'd be available.
Yeah, it feels a lot.
The Texans beat the Titans tonight.
I mean, maybe
the Texans whipped the Titans twice.
The Titans, yeah. I mean, maybe in, whatever team morale, energy level, whatever
on the field last year.
This kid for the Jets is going nuts.
Yeah,
right
I
now.
know. And then the Jets taking Will McDonald, a linebacker out of Iowa State.
That's disgusting.
Why does he look like Matty B. Raps?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, you shouldn't know who that is. Jack
Good.
I got the reference.
Yeah.
There you go. Now everybody knows how old we all are. Yeah, I have no clue what you just said.
That's a big time millennial sort of reference there. Like, I think I don't even know when his.
No, I'm a millennial.
Young millennial.
Yeah, whatever generation you guys are, you whippersnappers.
The next pick that's interesting to me is going to come when the Jags go on the clock at 24.
Well, there's a lot of interesting going on right now because I mean, I haven't been paying, direct attention to this. There is a lot of guys falling. Number one, Washington's up right now. Will Levis hasn't been drafted yet. Tampa Bay's coming up. Will Levis hasn't been drafted yet. I don't think Christian Gonzalez has been drafted yet from what I've seen kind of as we've been talking through this. So these are slam dunk top 10 names that are for a slide right now. This is fascinating.
This pick is not exciting right now. But if you walk out of here, you get your receiver in round 2. You get a corner in round 2. Hendon Hooker, Will Levis.
Your guy Jackson Smith and Jigba hasn't been drafted yet.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
There's only been 15. Here's the crazy thing. There's only been 4 players picked since the Titans picked Peter Skronski. What the hell's happening? Why is it going so damn slow?
Because these guys are taking every minute of this 10-minute.
They are.
Here.
There's been 4 people drafted since Peter Skronski. And so it's not like Jackson Smith and Jigba has really dropped. I think the mid-teens is kind of where you felt like he would go. 11 or 12 would be a reach.
Will McDonald, what is it, 15 here?
I can't believe that. You get Rodgers and you go Will McDonald. Old McDonald had a farm up in New York.
I thought they were going to go O-line, but somebody took Peter Skoronski.
And Darnell Wright.
Yeah.
And Broderick Jones. And Paris Johnson.
Where did I miss Broderick Jones? Where did he go?
Broderick Jones went to Pittsburgh in their trade up.
Yeah. Which makes sense, right? The Steelers trade up to go get Broderick Jones, and the Jets are sitting there and like, well, crap. Now you got to go to Will McDonald, whoever that is.
Yeah. Washington here will be interesting. New England will be interesting. What the heck is Detroit doing? Because they had pick 6 in this draft and then traded back and then took a running back.
If Gonzalez falls to them, that is a home run for Detroit. I mean,
because they might have taken him at 6. And so,
hey, but yeah, if Detroit can come out of the first round tonight with Christian Gonzalez and Jahmyr Gibbs, I don't care who got drafted where. That's you can just convince yourself to flop them and you'll feel fine.
Well, hey, Hendon Hooker sitting there. They just showed him looking at sitting next to, I believe he was next to Joe Milton. So at his draft party. He's on a couch right next to Joe Milton, so his guy right next to him there.
That makes sense. The Vols had a big win tonight with Darnell Wright going 10th overall to the Chicago Bears, and so that'll be nice for that program to see how that can help boost what Josh Heupel's trying to do there, and then we'll see what happens with Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman, where I'm guessing we'll have a big conversation tomorrow about the two Tennessee Vols wide receivers as the Titans go there. So we'll kind of figure out, how we've been on here for quite a bit, fellas, an hour and 45 minutes. You guys want to keep going? The Commanders pick is in. We want to figure out where we want to draw the line and go off. Cause here I feel like as soon as we hit in broadcast, Hendon Hooker is going to be like the next pick.
Yeah.
So,
I think we can
go. It sure beats the hell out of writing about the Bears pick and then the Lions right after.
You don't want to write about Darnell Wright being a 5-star athlete and going through.
I labeled him earlier in the show, Hall of Fame potential. You heard it here first.
Donald said, "Hey, there's your headline. You've already got your article done for the Bears, then, Jack."
Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, the receivers in this class clearly. Teams do not rate them high. I mean, Zay Flowers still available, JSN still available. You got Jordan Addison, a possibility. Hyatt probably goes after those guys that I mentioned in Tillman. There's plenty of options still at wide receiver, which is why I'm starting to talk myself into feeling better about tonight. I think you just have to do it with the second round pick.
I think the way that that's a failure. Well, I think the way that this board has fallen shows you how teams feel about those two position groups in general at wide receiver and quarterback, which obviously had the three in the top four. But, as much as we're sitting here saying, when is Hendon Hooker going to be drafted? Will Levis hasn't been drafted. And how does that throw off potentially one of those teams that was a late suitor for Hendon Hooker, now knowing they might have an opportunity to get Will Levis instead? And who do they have higher on their board? We'll see. I mean, we'll see how that shakes out. I mean, is it possible one of those guys falls out of the first round? And what happens then if you're at, starting day 2 with the top quarterback still available? And then same deal at wide receiver. We've yet to see a wide receiver go. Jackson Smith-Njigba has not been picked, which means Zay Flowers hasn't been picked. Jordan Addison hasn't been picked. Quentin Johnson hasn't been picked, on and on and on. So 41 for the Titans, maybe this moves some of these guys back and there's more of an opportunity there to take one of the top receivers.
Mingo's a guy there as well, who I think would fit the bill for what the Titans are trying to do.
Oh man, you and I just don't see eye to eye with these receivers. I don't like Mingo. I
like to see the ball flying down the field. I haven't seen a lot of that.
There's a lot of hype about Jalen Hyatt. I like Cedric Tillman for the Titans' needs.
Tillman, I like more than Hyatt, definitely.
What he would bring to them. Like I said, I love Jordan Addison. I think at this point, Jackson Smith-Njigba is a home run for whoever grabs him this late in the draft. I mean, this is a good spot to draft him at.
Guys, Washington has selected, and they go cornerback. But they don't go Christian Gonzalez. Emmanuel Forbes, who weighs about 160 pounds, just went at 16 overall, and Christian Gonzalez is still hanging out in Kansas City.
Man, that's a shocker. I thought he'd be the fourth corner to go.
Trinity 5000 says Austin needs to talk a bit more. Guys, I don't know about y'all in the chat. I am enjoying the back and forth bickering between Sam and Jack.
I thought it was great. Have different perspectives.
This is fantastic.
What we want the Titans to look like next season.
This is what happens when you put a Big Ten guy with 2 SEC guys and tell them to, talk about college football.
Yeah, and I'm glad my dream.
I flashed it. Yeah, because I was saying, I think part of the reason you're not talking, I feel like you're still kind of like exhaling from the fact that
relieved.
I'm
relieved. I got my not Will Levis, no matter what. I got my wish with that. And as you said, the night is not over at all, and the Titans could still get Will Levis at some point in this draft. And I just don't think that would be a move worth making for the rest of the night.
No, Emmanuel. So we got New England at 17. They're probably going to do something insane. Although, how fun would Will Levis with Bill Belichick be?
I was going to say that, Sam. I'm glad it took 17 picks, but now we agree on something. I think that Will Levis could go here.
That would be fun.
No.
Why not? Why not?
This is This is JSN, is it not?
To New England? That would make Jack happy.
That would not make Jack happy.
Levis could work for New England, or I think Levis or JSN, one of these guys goes here. I do think that's safe.
Here we go. Here's the Patriots selection.
We got it. Quick. I see it. We were wrong.
Okay, that's a good pick.
Yeah, duh. The guy who could have gone 6th overall falls to the Patriots at 17. Oh, no.
Belichick trades back.
Dang it.
Corner was the big position of need for them. He gets arguably one of the second best one in the draft at 17 after trading back. Classic Belichick move.
Yeah, I know, right?
Happy to see a guy in the green room not have to sit there anymore. I always think it's kind of weird, some of the moves that they make with these guys that go to the I get the idea of wanting to go to the draft. That's a cool experience where if you're a kid and you're kind of dreaming of playing in the NFL, you dream about that moment, walking across the stage, getting drafted and shaking Goodell's hand. But if I'm Keon White right now, I'm like, do I really want to sit there and not get picked all day? You have to risk management here. I don't know if I'd go if I wasn't a slam dunk top guy.
Hindsight's 2020. But the more that the longer this draft goes on, it does seem like trading back would have absolutely been the right move for the Titans. Absolutely.
But who is coming up, though? I think Peter Skronski is why the Steelers moved up. The Titans taking Peter Skronski is why they had to go up to go get Broderick Jones.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was that Steelers pick at 17, that people were talking about that had picked up a lot of buzz.
Yeah,
if the Titans just drop back there and they get like you said, Sam, that would have been JSN range. That would have made you happy. Flowers, Levis, even the trade back does seem to look like it would have been the best move.
Now that they've done it, right? We can talk about what I did in our A to Z Sports mock draft. I moved back to 17 in a similar spot. A lot of the guys Skoronski was gone, Paris Johnson was gone. I think Smith and Jigba was even gone. And then you had 3 of the quarterbacks. And I looked at it and said, well, I can take Will Levis or a defensive player or trade back. I opted for a trade back to 17 with the idea of, hey, I'll take offensive line or, maybe a wide receiver here if the good ones are still available. And I got down there and saw Will Levis was still available at 17 and said, well, I added the second rounder. This might be the spot where the Titans go and get the QB. Turns out a lot of those guys are falling. And now Detroit comes up where, again, they didn't get Christian Gonzalez, thank goodness, because that would have been quite a draft for Dan Campbell and company if Gonzalez fell to them at 18. Yeah. Where does Detroit go after taking Jahmyr Gibbs? What a weird draft for them.
Definitely maybe the biggest curveball for me was the Jahmyr Gibbs pick. We haven't hit on this, but we've done a handful of morning shows on this topic. How much stock are these GMs really putting into the S2 test numbers that were released? Because Stroud goes at 2, and Levis, who tested very high, he's still on the board. Hooker, he was kind of expected to fall for different reasons, but I don't know that S2, or at least the numbers we saw, and we had Mike Herndon on this week. For anybody that hasn't listened to the Tighten Up podcast, definitely do so before you go to bed tonight. He said that he spoke to one of the founders, and those numbers that were released might not have been accurate, or they were only for one portion of the S2 test.
Yeah, I mean, Austin and I talked about this a little bit, and, this is something he addressed when he spoke to us at the facility on Monday about, what do you make of this as somebody who admittedly he was not familiar with it? He said, this is my first experience with using S2. And he said they use it more of a warning sign or a red flag, but not a red flag that we won't draft you. More of a, hey, check out my tape again. He said, he sees a low S2 score. He says, well, let me look at the tape and see if I missed something, or if the tape is telling me a different story or is backed by the score. So either way, right? So Jay Kaner, who reportedly got a 97 on the thing or whatever, it's if you see that score come out, maybe you say, well, hey, maybe we didn't need to do a little bit more homework and start talking to this guy, figure out what he's seeing and how he's processing the game. And I think ultimately for a lot of these teams, as I showed earlier, right, this is the C.J. Stroud tape that you went to. And so they said, oh, you mean he doesn't process well? You mean he has no anticipation? And then you see throws like this one, and you say, no, the tape tells me a different story with this guy. And at the end of the day, the tape does the talking. S2 is, at least for now, a way that you can figure out where you need to look closely. And maybe 2-3 years down the line, if CJ Stroud winds up being a huge draft bust for the Houston Texans and Jake Haener is this year's Brock Purdy, we'll all look and say, hey, there's something to this thing. We need to start really taking this for, fact here. But for right now, it's more of a tiebreaker or just sort of like, points you in the direction of where to look.
Austin, I don't want to hijack your seat behind the wheel here.
Nah, do your thing.
But since they didn't go quarterback first round, do y'all think that there's a shot that they take one at all this draft? I mean,
Jack, I don't know if you were like reading my mind or something, but I was literally typing out a tweet that was going to go directly into this topic on would it make sense for the Titans to go back into the first round tonight? Like there's
with what? I mean, like
it depends who you go get.
41 in a future, like future.
Hold on, I don't want you to jump the gun yet. I mean, clearly, I know what it sounds like.
No, I'm curious what your hypothetical situation is, because I think it's important to pose the hypothetical before you ask the question.
I mean, there are two quarterbacks, Will Levis being the bigger one and the higher rated one going into the draft that are now dropping as we approach 20. Does it make sense for the Titans to do this and go up and get back into the end of the first round for one of these quarterbacks? And I'll tell you why I do think it's something to watch, because Mel's big board, Will Levis, one available, Nolan Smith, Zay Flowers, JSN, and Dalton Kincaid. I mean, there's other, like Dalton Kincaid's a beast. Zay Flowers could be a game changer to go along with JSN that we've talked about. So would it make sense for the Titans to go back into the first round to get a quarterback again? So I'll tell you why I think it's important. But first, let me tell you guys about our sponsors here on the show, including Holiday World, Splashin Safari. Holiday World, guys, it's just about 2 hours away up from Nashville in Santa Claus, Indiana. You can make the most of your family's summer with a trip to Holiday World and Splashin Safari. Family fun just a couple hours away with top-ranked roller coasters and the nation's first launched water coaster. I don't know about you guys, but a launched water coaster at Holiday World and Splashin Safari sounds pretty awesome. And also, don't miss Holidays in the Sky when it returns June 17th, where over 400 drones give you a drone show up in the skies at night in Holiday World, Splashin Safari. Get the fun started with the best savings online at holidayworld.com. There's always free parking, free soft drinks, and free sunscreen, all for the kids right there. So Holiday World, Splashin Safari, helping us out on this draft. So I think it makes sense to jump back into the first round if you want a quarterback, if you like Will Levis enough, because it's the fifth-year option, right? The fifth-year option is a big deal when having a rookie quarterback contract, and I think it would be an absolute waste of a pick for 2 years in a row to take a quarterback on Friday night of the draft. Malik Willis, gamble, whatever, but you had multiple picks. You had 2 third-round picks to go get and spend one on Malik Willis at 86. But if you go Malik Willis in the third round last year, and then you go for a quarterback in the second or third round this year, then what are you doing? So,
hello? Jack Campbell? I'm sorry to get out. What are we doing?
Dan Campbell, a big night.
Dan Campbell took him because he has the same last name. He was all like, yeah, Campbell guys got to stick together. You take an off-ball linebacker and a running back at 6 and 18.
12 and 18.
Yeah, sorry. You were at 6 though. You were you could add Jalen Carter. Wow. I mean, I like Jack Campbell, but late first, early second at best. I mean, that's just wow.
The Lions had the second worst pass defense last year. Now they went out and signed Cameron Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley in free agency, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. but you can't have too many cornerbacks. That's in today's league. Maybe in the NFC, you don't have to go as heavy on them because there's no more good quarterbacks over there.
What a fall from grace for them. I mean, like 3 weeks ago, everybody's like, hey, look out for the Lions this year. They might be adding Jalen Carter to that group with Jameson Williams coming back. No Jameson Williams, suspended. Bunch of other guys suspended. No Jalen Carter. You end up with a running back after signing David Montgomery. You give David Montgomery money in free agency, then you still still draft a running back. So now you have 3 running backs. You have DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs. And now an off-ball linebacker. Just interesting. I don't know.
Austin, to get back to the question.
Yeah, I was about to say, Sam just.
I'm sorry.
I just completely went on a tangent. But hey,
I apologize.
He's an NFC North guy. Look, to get back to the question, I'm wondering, I think 23, Minnesota at 23 is the last team that might take a quarterback in the first round.
I think they will now. I think they will, knowing what's coming their way. I mean, Tampa here, right? Maybe.
You've got the Bucks. Seattle is a possibility. I still don't think they'd spend a first-round pick on one. And then you got the Chargers, the Ravens, and then all the playoff teams last year, none of which need a quarterback. So it's really the Bucks and the Vikings here. If Levis slips past both of those teams,
Seattle,
that opens the door. Yes.
Well, we were saying Seattle, but
20 possibly. If Levis gets past 23, I think that's when Carthon, gets everybody back in the war room and says, hey, we all think.
Here's the thing, though. Yeah, good point. Where are now they're back, but for the last little bit, Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon were doing a press conference. And so that you can't make a trade back into the first round while you're doing a press conference. Who's calling the shots? Vin Marino in there?
I'm picking Ryan Cowden's.
Cowden's.
I'm picturing
Ryan. You got the phone.
Day. He comes out. Hey, Sonny, you got to get back in here. Bo Callahan's falling. Look up. Cue Will Levis sitting there with his arms crossed on the.
No. I already said no. No matter what, damn it. Not Will Levis, no matter what.
I do want to say, by the way, because Draft Day is such an amazing and terrible movie at the same time because it's a football fan just sit back and enjoy. But can we talk about the fact that Sonny Weaver Jr. gave up the entire future for the number 1 overall pick to then take an off-ball linebacker, to then trade back into the first round, and then trade back again and take a running back in the top 10.
Different era.
I'm just saying, Kevin Costner, you might want to look into his job security over there.
Well, the Bucks do not go quarterback, so Will Levis continues to drop as Kalijah Kancey, the D tackle out of Pittsburgh, goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 19th overall. So, yeah, I mean, guys, we're looking at quarterback spots for Seattle, maybe right here at 20, who's got a bonus first round pick because Seattle went with your boy Witherspoon, right?
Seattle took Witherspoon,
yeah. And so at 5, and so now they can, if they feel like it, could get a quarterback at 20 that they thought could probably take at 5 too, right? Like if you're Seattle, you went through situations on, would Anthony Richardson make sense at 5? Would Will Levis make sense at 5? Maybe.
Listen, we're hitting the 20th pick in the draft. There hasn't been a wide receiver taken off the board.
Strange, right?
All of that buzz about like, hey, people are kind of down on this wide receiver group. Looks like there was a lot to it because they are opting for just about everything else at this point. The best available, according to ESPN right now, Will Levis, Dalton Kincaid, who, a lot of people have projected to go to the Chargers sitting there at 21. Nolan Smith remains on the board. Michael Mayer, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Zay Flowers, Joey Porter Jr., Miles Murphy, and Jordan Addison. And then Deontay Banks, the DB from Maryland. That's your top 10 best available. So, I mean, a lot of players there that are very, very good that we thought would be gone by now that are potentially falling. Hendon Hooker, 16th best available on ESPN's big board.
It stinks that these good players are falling because they're all falling to playoff teams.
Yeah, that much is true. But as Jorge says, I mean, overall good for the Titans, right? I mean, the more that these good guys fall, or at least that these guys that, I like, you like, and a lot of people thought would be gone by now, the more these guys fall, the better chance there is that one of them especially at wide receiver, can fall to the Titans at 41 and give them a nice option over there.
Well, again, Jack, you remember this in the 2020 draft, the Titans had the 29th overall pick, and they passed on Christian Fulton to take Isaiah Wilson, but then Christian Fulton was still there in the second round.
That was awesome at the time.
At the time, the Christian Fulton part, I think, is still good. I think Christian's got an opportunity this year to make himself a lot of money and to flip some things around. But again, like Harold Landry, right? You go back to 2018, the Titans go get Rashaan Evans in the first round. You thought, maybe they could have gotten Harold Landry right there, but he was still there in round 2 as well. So I do think the Titans we've seen have a history. AJ Brown could have been if the Titans took AJ Brown in 2019 at 19th overall, nobody would have complained. Mm-mm. But they got him at 51 or whatever. So
yeah, that's the thing though. That's what's so frustrating about the Titans draft history. Their second round picks have a higher hit rate than their first. So I don't know.
Well, if you go Peter Skronski, you go the safe way and Peter Skronski, and then have a really good pick in your second round that's better than your first round. But Peter Skronski is going to be a safe, high floor player, right?
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm getting reports from the chat here that there is some money that we missed here. Some
super chats.
Yeah, some super chats that have not been read. I don't know who had one that got missed. I'm happy to read it. And I've been told I'm in a pissy mood tonight. I don't know if that's accurate. I'm happy to read a super chat. You don't even have to redo your super chat. Just send it. I think it's Jimbo. If it's Jimbo, resend it. I will keep an eye out for it. I will read it.
They don't pay for it again. We're not asking.
Definitely don't pay for it again. Jorge says, question for you, Sam. Can the Titans still get a good edge outside linebacker player at 72? I mean, you can obviously get a good. There's a lot of depth at that position. It's probably the strongest group of this draft is what you had up front and on the defensive line. And, hard to really tell until we get into the second round and we start to see where that starts to go and who starts to fall. But I have a number of guys. Adeboare, I believe is how you pronounce it. Another Northwestern guy. I'm just saying, I like him a lot if the third round comes around for that. Let's see. Jeffrey Kendig comes in with, how is Sam Phelan as for today, bro? A, happy. B, I don't know what that means. I'm doing well. I'm happy. Jeff would tell you I'm in a pissy mood. I'm telling you I'm doing great. I'm happy that a Chicago brother is now a member of the Tennessee Titans. And go love him up. Born in the same town of Park Ridge, Illinois. Me and Peter Skoronski, handshake emoji. There you go.
John
Noah Leak says he liked Torrance for a trade back and getting more picks. But hindsight is 2020. And then Ryan Fields comes in with, I want us to get back in the first to get Levis. Austin would have to be to put his unbiased aside, put his bias aside and cover a Kentucky player. I'm rooting for it too, Ryan. Give me the chaos.
Ryan, we've been doing this for years, man. Like you've been watching us for years and we've been going back and forth. It does not matter that he wore Kentucky blue. That does not matter. It's that Will Levis is not a good quarterback and situationally lost his team games in the SEC in
Ole
big
Miss
moments.
Game. Yeah.
Ole Miss game.
Ole Miss, Vandy. I mean, he lost some bad ones too.
A back-breaking pick six 2 seasons ago is it still Kroger Stadium?
I want to say that they changed it recently, but I like that. I think we should call it Kroger Stadium until somebody checks for us. But I mean, he had a lot going against him.
I can. Jay says sounds like bias to me. I can be biased against the Kentucky Wildcats if you want me to. But again, Will Levis has nothing to do. My dislike for Will Levis is not because he went to Kentucky. Wesley Woodyard was one of my favorite players to cover for the Titans, and he played for Kentucky and beat Tennessee as a Kentucky Wildcat. Yeah. Wesley Woodyard was phenomenal. I loved doing that, but no, Will Levis, I just don't like him as a quarterback prospect.
All right. Well, listen, Big Ten Jeff, I got it wrong. It was not Jimbo. It is Big Ten Jeff that had the 2 super chats, he says, that went unread. So, Jeff, my mission for the next 10 minutes, I've got my eyes on the chat. I'm ready for you to send it in. Just send a comment with 1-.1, 2-.2. I will read it out loud. We'll have a nice, long conversation, a nice discussion about it here. From one Big Ten guy to another. let's talk about it. Let's figure out what's going on here. You send it in the chat. We'll figure it out.
So Jeff said one of his super chats was like a follow-up comment. Like, don't like, if you're going to send a super chat, like make it like a topic or something. Like, I want you guys to spend your money wisely. If you just send a super chat in for like a follow-up comment, it's hard to like interrupt the show to throw in a follow-up. You see what I'm saying? Like, I want you guys to, like, if you want to do a super chat, which I'm not asking you to, that's really, we appreciate that, but we don't have to have a super chat, but like make it something that's like conversational, not just a follow-up.
All right. So I got it. Jeff says number one was saying that the Titans weapons still suck, bad pick in all caps. So
preach,
going back to the Skoronski, throwing some love Jack's way, saying still need weapons, bad pick. Number two, Tate Rakeem Jarrett in the third round, sleeper. I like that actually a lot. But you know, the weapons still suck, bad pick. I would say a wide receiver hasn't gone, so let's wait and see, right? Let's see what happens at 41. Let's see what happens in the rest of this first round and see where the Titans are at as a wide receiver group, you know, after this period is over, right?
Thank you. All right. Thank you to Jake. Yeah, he made dumb super chats. And then Kyle says, that's what you sent? That's my point. Is that come on, don't waste your $2.99 on that. Like, you don't have to do a super chat to say that.
Noah rejects your, proposal that he should spend his money wisely and says,
see, but that was funny. Like, it was a part of the conversation. It worked.
Yeah, I mean, I do respect the commitment, right? Big Ten Jeff is so far in on Jackson Smith and Jigba and letting me know that the Titans need Jackson Smith and Jigba, that he's paying for a super chat, not even to say, hey, go get JSN, just to be like, hey, by the way, weapons still stink.
Weapons suck.
They still suck.
Take this dude 30 hours from now, right?
Bad
like that's
pick.
like that was you
weapons
said the
suck, bad pick.
The weapons suck. Here's $2 for that comment, and then draft this guy tomorrow night. Like,
worth
that's
it,
what
Jeff.
you wanted us to,
Don't listen to him. It's worth it.
Look, it's very, very entertaining.
We appreciate the support. Don't get us wrong. And
Matthew Gillenwater has some. He's being sarcastic. He says it's not hard at all, Austin. There are tons of shows that make sure they reward every single comment.
I don't think he's being sarcastic.
He wasn't being sarcastic. I thought he was for a second, but he wasn't being sarcastic. Look, I mean, I'm sorry. We've had literally, I'm not exaggerating, thousands of comments tonight, and we appreciate you guys. But I mean,
and I agree with Matthew's point. Well, we want to read the super chats. If you are committed to watching the show with us and you are supporting us, you're paying money to get your 2 cents in with us. I want to make sure that we get it on the screen and we talk about it, even if it is just a hi, mom, or should be read. Here we go. Jackson Smith and Jigba did just go off the board to Seattle, but we'll come back to that because I'm sure. Yeah, here we go. We got JSN comments, but no, we want to make sure that the read. Sometimes they slip through the cracks, especially on a show like this that has so many different comments coming through and it's rapid fire. We try and put some of them, like, favorite them and put them into, like, save them for later so we can come back to them.
Yeah.
But if we're having a conversation or I'm looking at my phone, like, things happen that we don't always see them. And I appreciate the reminder. I will never see a reminder about a super chat and say, I don't care what you said or that we didn't get to your money. We're not going to, talk about your thing. I want to make sure we get there. So just be patient with it. We'll come back
and
around.
again, like, part of, like, I try to star favorite all the super chats so they go in a side folder for us. So then I can check back and say, hey, can we have a legitimate conversation about this super chat? And then if we can, then I find a spot to go do it. But if you're just saying the pick sucked or the weapon sucked, then there's nothing we can really do about that.
Well, JSN at 20 here. Yeah. This probably starts the run on wide receivers.
Well, yeah, I think Baltimore could go 22 and go grab one.
I mean, Baltimore, Minnesota, if they don't go quarterback, Minnesota could go receiver. Yeah. The Chargers might take a tight end. I think these weapons are going to start coming off the board here. And we've got 11 picks or 10 picks left of this first round. So, or 11 picks, whatever it is. So interesting to say the least.
I don't want to be live for all 11.
No, I understand. I understand. And
we got a good audience going here.
I know we do.
Almost 500 people. We're still going strong.
Yeah.
So
I'm out of water though.
Oh, see, that was your first mistake. I mean, you can go get some water. We can hold down the fort here. I would be lying if I didn't think about like starting to munch into my snacks that I've got next to me right here mid-draft. I mean, this is better way to spend draft day than just like bickering about players that are bickering about a bunch of 20-year-olds online on a stream about, who should and shouldn't have gone where.
Exactly. Hey, with HelloFresh, you can get 50% off your order and your first box with free shipping when you use our code ATOZ50 and you go to HelloFresh.com/ATOZ50. And Sam and I and Jack will all get our food Tuesday, I think it is. And then I wish we had it now, but that's okay. We missed the timing on that. But HelloFresh is phenomenal, so go check them out. America's most popular meal kit. I did see, Sam, a super chat fly in while I was talking about HelloFresh. So if you want to go read that so Jeff doesn't get upset.
Well, so here we go. We have Richard coming in with, if you are building this year for next year, who would you go after for quarterback next year? I'm very hard to say. I mean, the obvious answer is Caleb Williams. Feels like, he's going to be a top of the draft guy. Drake May feels like he's going to be at the top of the draft guy. Will the Titans be bad enough to pick either one of those guys at the top of the draft? I don't think so, especially if Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are still on your team in 2023. But it very much unknown because as we've seen year after year after year, you can go into a college football season saying this guy certainly is going to be the number one pick. We did that with Sam Howell and we said, Sam Howell next year, wait on Sam Howell. This guy's going to be a stud. And then he ended up being like a fourth or fifth rounder or whatever it was because he was fine, but he was not, the number one pick that we thought he was, and other guys emerged. So a bit too early to say, but I do think that the draft is ultimately the way to go.
Speaking for Titans fans here, I feel like I can do that. I think the unknown is the scariest of it all because everyone around you in your division and really the AFC. I mean, how many Pro Bowl quarterbacks are in the AFC right now? At least like 10. And then your division's filling out. The Titans are I don't know if there's another team that comes to mind right now. I mean, the Lions with Goff, the Vikings with Cousins. There aren't many teams.
Raiders and Seahawks are in a similar spot with short-term deals on Geno and
uncertain. They're uncertain at the quarterback position for the next few years. And man, I almost wish that the Titans didn't roll out Malik Willis last year so I could still have some hope. But at the end of the day, like I understand that he was thrown to the wolves too early, wasn't ready, didn't have weapons. There was a lot going against him, but you can't not judge his performance. Like you can't just throw that out of the window. We saw a guy who is light years away from being ready to not just start in the NFL, but to win games and to win at a level the Titans have been winning at lately. It's the unknown, and just the Titans are just one of the very, very few teams who have that murky future at that position, the most important position.
That is the scary part about the AFC. I mean, how many guys are on long-term deals right now? Well, or like for the foreseeable future with their franchises. You've got, I mean, even if they're not amazing, right? I mean, you've got the obvious ones with Burrow, like Mahomes, Allen, Lawrence, Herbert, Jackson, Rodgers, Tua. Like, I mean, you have Stroud. Now you have Richardson. That's Russell Wilson. That's 11 quarterbacks right there in the AFC. And I might even be missing one or two.
Did you say Lamar?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
And the
Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett had a good rookie year last year.
Who did you not say?
Deshaun Watson's on a major deal. So, like, I mean, I'm up to 13 that are at least supposed to be, here long-term in AFC. So it's certainly the scary part. The Chargers have passed on the tight ends.
Yeah, but they're going wide receiver. So
they're all going now, aren't they?
Which one? I forget who one of you guys said it. Well, like here comes the run at wide receiver. And yeah. Well, at least there's two. Does two count as a run? Does two in a row? Does two in a row count as a run?
I think you need three. Yeah, 3 or 3 out of 4 is a run.
Okay.
right? 3 out of 4 is a run. But
three out of 5 a run.
Baltimore's going to take Jordan Addison, though.
I think 3 out of 4 is a damn guarantee right now. Now, I hope I get cold taked. I hope that no receiver is taken before the Titans at 41. But, I mean, it's not looking good right now.
Quentin Johnston out of TCU is the pick for the Chargers. Just making sure that's clear because Jared comes in with $5 and says, we're coming in clutch. He's working a 20-hour shift and listening to his talk is keeping him up. The only way he knows who's picked. Well, hey, man, keep it up. We're keeping it up. We're powering through. It's my mission to get Austin Stanley on this live stream through pick 31 tonight.
So I'm on board, Sam.
I saw Jared's
anyways.
I saw Jared's comment. I said, well, damn it. Now we have to.
Yeah, we got to. We're the only one that's letting him know who's gone. So we're giving him the updates.
Because I'm sitting here trying to decide. I'm like, when do I let you guys go do your other stuff that you guys do tonight?
No. We're fine here. No.
We're great right here. This is a nice filler right here because Big Ten Jeff, not a super chat, but does ask, what is everyone's draft snacks? Going back to ask me anything. So, like, what do you have in front of you?
Nothing.
What would you have in front? If I wasn't talking, what would I have in front of me? Well, to answer your question, Big Ten Jeff, we're going with the veggies tonight with some peanut butter on the side. We're doing I'm calorie counting. We're watching it a little bit, but I love celery and carrots, so that's my draft snack. Although I got to tell you, I went to the store to stock up for the weekend so that I can hermit during draft season and just get all of my content out. And I was like looking at every meat platter and like pizza that I could. And I was like, oh, that charcuterie's looking good over there. That chips and guac's looking good over there. My attention was diverted for sure.
I'm working with a cucumber tomato salad in the fridge, which only gets better with time. So I'm eating nothing.
True.
Right now.
Yeah,
Kyle says, this is why I'm in a bad mood because I'm, celery and carrots. I'm very happy to have my celery and carrots. Thank you. John says, my snack is the Titans' first round pick.
Get
Boring.
him.
But guess what? It's reliable. It's reliable. This stuff, good for the heart. So that's what Peter Skoronski is for the Titans. Good for the heart and reliable. Awesome. Draft snack of choice.
I have nothing right now.
But if you had something.
Well, I already mentioned this. The gummy bears are my go-to because the gummy bears, you can, piece by piece, gummy by gummy, and then they also keep your fingers clean.
You're big on those clean fingers. You sent out a company-wide
I know. I respect it.
I know. It was a big deal.
Yeah. Dirty fingers is tough.
Yeah, especially if you're working. A company-wide email. Zach sent an email, said, let's go draft weekend, and it started chaining through, and I had the need, guys, get your dinner plans ready. Make sure you're going to have clean fingers because all you guys need to type on your phone, on your computer, on wherever. And if you can't have Dorito fingers while you're typing out articles, you can do gummy bears, but you can't do Sam's, tortilla chips.
I know Titans fans are stress eating right now.
I'll go get them. Don't tempt me right now. I will go get the El Rancheros. I talked about them on the chat, and I was going through the grocery store today, and I said, yep, we're going to do it. I'm going to need them at some point this weekend. What is the chat eating? Jesse's eating summer sausage and cheese. That is heaven right now. That is the best draft snack, in my opinion. The summer sausage and cheese is it. It's like charcuterie, but even a little bit better with the summer sausage. Chili cheese dogs, says Curtis. That is quite a draft meal. That's a heavy draft meal. That sounds delicious, though. I am a big hot dog guy and put anything on it. And I know it's disgusting, but I love a hot dog.
That's like the Titans picking Skoronski at 11. You're going to wake up tomorrow and feel even worse.
It is the Chicago in me, but I love a stacked up hot dog with all of it. We've got Airhead Extremes. I don't know if I've ever had those. Are you guys familiar with those?
Yes.
The sours. They're very
good.
I'm not a sour guy, but I respect it. I do like Sour Patch Kids. Let's see what else we got. Come with chips and salsa. They're basically old reliable here from Jacob Ray. Chips and salsa is, that is. I don't want to make another left tackle kind of deal. I mean, that's just a reliable pick. That's a good edge rusher or something like that. Zapp's Voodoo Chips from Michael Billington. Haven't had those. Had those. What else we have? Chips and queso. A little bit spicier than the salsa. Just like queso, I feel like is you're balling if you're having queso, just casually. Queso's I'm at Chili's kind of a thing, but Casually,
do you want to know what Peter Skronski did for his draft snack?
Pizza.
Yeah,
he was at a pizza place. I bet he was. I bet you he was at Lou's or like Vito and Nick's or something like that. Because the guy's got taste. It's a man cut from the right cloth out there in Park Ridge, Illinois. They know how to breed them. Only units come out of Park Ridge, Illinois.
I knew nothing about Park Ridge, Illinois today, but I'm already growing to dislike it.
Dude, you would love it. Shout out to Maine South High School.
Is that where Peter Skronski went?
That is where Peter Skronski went. So
is that where you went?
It's not where I went. We did not like Maine South, but
Okay, it's a rival.
Kind of.
All right. If I download this pizzeria video and put it and show it on the stream, Sam, will you be able to recognize the pizzeria potentially?
Doubtful, but I'll try.
All right, let me see if I can do this. I might have to get fancy and flip it. I'm gonna have to. Here we go. I think we're good. All right, we're getting it up. It's uploading.
Is it outside or inside that you're about to say?
Look, I have no idea. He is inside when he gets the pick.
Oh, well,
so this is Peter Skronski reacting to him being picked at a Chicago pizzeria. Are you ready? We were trying to see if Sam can identify the pizzeria in the Chicago area. Here is new Titans offensive lineman Peter Skronski.
Tennessee!
Number one, awesome video. I don't have a great guess. My best guess is unfortunately in agreement with Big Ten Jeff. Lou Malnati's is kind of, I mean, it went with the color scheme and the vibe, but I don't know what town he's in, but Lou Malnati's would be my guess if he's in like a suburban Lou's.
Yeah,
he's definitely not in the city at that place. So
it was a very blue collar type pizza place. It looks like nothing fancy, just probably some really good pizza pie. And the run on wide receivers continues as Zay Flowers goes to the Baltimore Ravens, kind of like we had expected.
Yeah, I mean, 3 in a row. Minnesota might make it 4. Who knows? Jordan Addison's still out there. So
Minnesota really likes Hendon Hooker. I know that much. This is the first legit team that could walk away with Hendon Hooker. So Vols fans, be on red alert here. They do have other needs like receiver, but I mean, after 3 go right in front of you, I mean, you got Mingo. Who am I missing, Sam?
Sorry, Addison.
Mingo's not a first round.
Not a first. I'm saying after that, because there's
you got Hyatt, you got Josh Downs, you got Tank Dell. I mean, you got all your kind of smaller guys in there.
Addison's probably the only first round potential left.
Jaden Reed, Marvin Mims, Cedric Tillman. Tyler Scott. I don't know where he is on draft boards. Yeah. Nick says Zay Flowers looks super tiny. He is. Make no mistake about it. He's very tiny, but man, can he run and man, can he separate. So
I liked Flowers a lot, not only for what he can do as a receiver, but he did return 7 punts last year. That's been a category the Titans have been struggling in for years. Even though it's only 7, he's got experience.
Question. Are the Ravens just doing the same thing that hasn't worked? Hollywood Brown, small, fast. Put him with Lamar Jackson. Fireworks, right? They tried this thing with Devin Duvernay. Now it was a later round pick. And then now here they come with Zay Flowers. Same thing. Small, fast. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so fun with Lamar. Like, I just don't think it doesn't seem like it's
Yeah, they also paid way too much money for OBJ. I guess the way they structured it makes sense. But
yeah.
OBJ hasn't had 1,000 yards in 7 years. Like, we need to cool. Yeah, like I think he's getting overwhelmed a little bit.
Like, if Lamar Jackson's sitting here with his fat, stack of cash that he just got today, is he like, yeah, Zay Flowers, he'll be better than Hollywood Brown? Like, of course they're showing the Tyreek.
I like Zay Flowers a lot. I do. There's a lot of guys in this draft that are really small slot guys that, struggle with size, and size is a big concern of how they'll translate. Of those, Zay Flowers was by far my favorite. I think he gets separation the most consistently. And obviously right now on the draft, they're showing the comp to Tyreek Hill, which, takes a lot to end up comping to Tyreek Hill. But that's another guy that people didn't really think, would be much. And so here's some of his tape. If you just want to watch, look at that step. Well, I'll play that again real quick. Look at this first step. Wide open. So
hold on. Play that again, because that defender was terrible. Whenever you hear Mike Vrabel, do it again. Whenever you hear Mike, I feel like a coach now. Do it again. Run it back. Whenever you hear Mike Vrabel say eye discipline, this is eye discipline gone wrong. Do it again. Play that first one again.
We gotta play it again. Run it back.
Watch this terrible eye discipline. What are you doing over there?
What are you looking at?
Touchdown? Terrible.
I'm letting it go this time. I'm going to check out some of these other highlights. But right here, this ability to catch in contact as well, while he also has that quick first step, and it really makes him a little bit more complete. Gave a lot of NFL teams an idea that he is not just limited to being kind of I don't know, just like a weird slot / running back, screen guy, gadget player. I mean, he can make legitimate plays down the field while doing it. And if he can create separation, that's something I thought could have worked well in the Titans offense, but also something that certainly Baltimore needs, right? They are in a similar boat where they need every weapon that they can get that can make Lamar Jackson's life a little bit easier.
Is that the type of receiver that the Titans were ever going to go after this draft, though? I don't think that would have made sense with what they've got right now. I get that the Kyle Phillips was a late round pick last year. Everyone wanted him to be something. He got hurt. We didn't really get to see what he could do. But, you need a guy on the outside. Like, I love NWI. Everyone who listens to the Tighten Up pod knows how much I love NWI. It's honestly disgusting. But I don't think going small at receiver makes a ton of sense for the Titans, at least this season.
They gotta have somebody, though. Like, they have to have somebody with speed. And, I look at a wide receiver group like I do a basketball team. You got to have a starting five that can do different things. You got to have somebody that can be the quick, shifty, create some space type of player. You got to have the big guy who can go get the rebounds and body, right? Like, you need that diversity among, body types at wide receiver. And the Titans have yet to find the smaller guy who can stick. They tried Adam Humphries, concussions and other injuries. Kyle Phillips looked good, and then he got hurt. And then they've had success with the bigger body players. And so they haven't been able to find it. I think they need it. Khalif Raymond was a cheap attempt at it. He had some flashes with it.
What a ride that was, though.
But again, like, that's where I think the Jalen Hyatt opportunity could be attractive. I prefer Tillman over Hyatt if you're going to go to those two guys.
Well, but this pick right here is maybe one of the more fascinating ones of the draft, because we know Minnesota needs wide receiver, especially with Adam Thielen leaving. They would love to add a number 2 with Justin Jefferson, and they, have the possibility of taking Jordan Addison right here. But Will Levis remains on the board. Hendon Hooker remains on the board. And after this pick from Minnesota, that's when you start looking at, it goes, we have Jacksonville, and then you've got all of your playoff teams in a row, right? So, like, we're running out of options for teams with a quarterback in the first round. So then it's like, do these guys fall to the second, or is this a time for a quarterback needing team to jump back up and go get their guy?
I totally agree with you, Sam. This is absolutely a quarterback spot. If it's not, I think you're going to see a team jump back into the first round. Will the Titans do it? I don't know that they have enough ammo. I don't know if they're willing to do that, to jump back in for Will Levis.
We are going to find out. Where would Hendon Hooker / Will Levis have to fall for either one of you guys to be like, let's go get him? Like, are you at this point waiting to see if he's there early second? I mean, you can go, or do you want that fifth-year option? The problem is getting the fifth-year option is going to cost you a pretty penny that it might not if you're moving to 33 or 34 or whatever.
Pick is in for the Vikings.
I think any time is a good time for Levis right now. I think you've gone past where drafting Levis would be a reach. So I think Levis now. I think you could make a case for jumping back in. Hendon Hooker, I think you can wait around a little bit.
Best available, Will Levis, Dalton Kincaid still not off the board. Nolan Smith still on the board. Michael Meyer, Joey Porter Jr., Miles Murphy, Jordan Addison, Deontay Banks. That top 8 were slam dunk first rounders, in my opinion. Like I thought that those first 8 were going to go tonight. Very interesting that many players are still on the board.
Nolan Smith specifically is interesting to me.
You saw hype early into the top 10 with him. Like
injuries, right?
Yeah,
but I mean, he did well at the combine. He ran well at the combine.
And Kobe Dean had a similar slip, although we'll see how much longer Nolan Smith lasts.
Kobe Dean fell into the second round.
Yeah, I don't think he'll slide as far as Dean did, but
yeah. David says the Titans' only competition for quarterback would be the Rams, but where
the
Rams are in the second round?
Enter at 36.
Yeah, that's a spot there where you might have to look at. But again, like I don't like taking a quarterback in the second round. Doesn't make sense, especially
if they're going to sit a year.
Yeah,
right?
Because the same thing again, Jack. You remember this? We talked about this last year with Malik. It's that he's a four-year contract player, the third round. You knew it wasn't going to start last year, so now you got 3 years left. And if he's not good enough to start in year 2, then you got 2 years left, which is just 1 year. Then you got to make a decision. And so if you're going to do that again, there's no reason you should take back-to-back drafts, quarterbacks beyond the second round. Like Rock says, Hurts was a second rounder. Yeah.
And here you go. The Minnesota Vikings are taking wide receiver Jordan Addison at 23. So there's that final one of your like surefire first round receivers. And now we see where the quarterbacks fall because I don't see a pick the rest of the way that has QB written on it. Big topic here from Ed, which we will definitely talk about tomorrow morning and into tomorrow as, you know, some of this stuff goes down. But he wants to know who's getting traded on day 2, Henry, Tannehill, or Byard for picks. Are any of these guys going to get moved?
I'm not answering that one right now. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, y'all do that tomorrow. You can listen to the Tighten Up podcast to get Mike Herndon's answer. And you, just a little teaser, you're going to hate it. But we'll see.
Go listen to it. It's going to be miserable for you.
that was one of the ways coming into this draft. I had 3 ways the Titans could win the first round, 3 ways the Titans could lose the first round. Trading Henry or Byard was on my ways to lose the first round. You can't have back-to-back trade or back-to-back drafts where you trade a premier player. The Titans kind of have a core 4 right now: Jeffrey Simmons, Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and Kevin Byard. Simmons is really the only one that's safe.
Well, we have wow, what an interesting trade. The Jaguars have added picks 160 and picks pick 160 and pick 240 to move back one spot from 24 to 25, and the New York Giants are coming up one spot here to make a pick. Maybe a tight end.
Oh, they have Darren Waller, right?
They did go get Waller. So, yeah.
There's not a receiver here that makes a bunch of sense, but the receivers are going fast, so maybe somebody gets reached. No.
Pass rusher. You think Nolan Smith goes here?
That could be. That makes a lot of sense, actually. With what the Giants need, with why they would move up, Nolan Smith would make a lot of sense.
You got Thibodeau last year. You can really start working on that defense. I know Dayball's an offensive guy, but
man,
Daniel Jones, you're going to need a good defense.
All these receivers this year look small. Like even Addison right there with Flowers, like they just look like they're not those big body guys that we're used to.
Tillman doesn't fit that category.
No, I know, but I'm talking about like the higher picks, right? Like Garrett Wilson, Olave, while they might have been thin, they were longer. These guys don't look very long at all, and none of them are super fast.
Well, I mean, that's why you didn't see one get picked before 20, right?
20 was the first one, right? Yeah, JSN.
JSN at 20 to the Seahawks. But I mean, today's game, like,
I guess Quentin Johnston's a bigger guy, so there's one,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
But in today's game, like when you're looking around the league at some of the premier wide receivers, not all of them are, that 6'4" Calvin Johnson, size.
These guys just look really small. Like they look like they're like freshmen in college, kind of. Like they don't look like they're developed as much. And Jalen Hyatt's the same way.
Tyreek Hill made a lot of dudes under 5'10" a ton of money.
Yeah, but Tyreek Hill is like thick. He's like a fire hydrant. Like you're not gonna move. Like he's not like a pushover or blow him over.
Chat comes in and says Jalen Hyatt's the perfect pick. Austin, you watched a lot of Tennessee football. How are your, what's your temperature on Jalen Hyatt kind of entering the end of the first round, beginning of the second round, and his fit maybe with the Titans?
I mean, I think I would be excited to see that pick. I think Cedric Tillman is the better pro out of Tennessee at wide receiver than Jalen Hyatt, but I like what Jalen Hyatt has. If you are fast enough to run a 4.4 flat 40-yard dash, you're like, yeah, my hamstring felt tight because I jumped a 43-inch vertical, but I still ran 4.4 flat. Like, then you're pretty damn fast, right? Like that's bizarre. Is that he ran that. Was like, yeah, hamstring was a little tight, but I'm all right.
I mean, go ahead.
I think he's a really talented guy. And as Jeff says, Hyatt's a one-trick pony, run straight, can't route anyone up. I disagree. I think there's been several instances where he's been able to run routes, take hits, go over the middle, yards after catch is something there too. He's more than just a straight line guy.
It's just interesting, though, coming out of that system up there. Like, you don't have anything to go off of outside of Velus Jones Jr., who, I mean, didn't even really get much time on the Bears' active roster, and that was an active roster.
Yeah, but Velus Jones Jr. was
he was a specialist mostly.
Yeah.
That's the role he should.
He's also
26 playing in the NFL.
Yeah, the COVID year and
yeah.
But don't you agree that with Hyatt, there's question marks just because of where he comes from, and
sure,
Tillman, like he looks the part.
Yes, and Cedric Tillman runs routes. Cedric Tillman has combat catching ability, goes up and gets the football. He's got good yards after catch and strength. Jeff said Austin, all he did was run straight. Well, it worked. He scored 15 touchdowns by running by everybody, including Alabama's defense. And
I'm with Jeff here.
Hold on. But like, again, like if you can get to the rim every play in college basketball, do it. That you can always develop the mid-range jumper. You can always, when it becomes your full-time job to learn how to shoot, you learn how to shoot. You can't just learn how to run by everybody on the damn field. So if you can get to the damn rim every time, great.
Everybody's fast. Everybody's
fast. It was a lot of busted coverages. It was a lot of simple route tree
coverages because
I'm worried that Jalen Hyatt won't be able to face press coverage in the NFL. He hasn't seen it. He has not seen press coverage, physical corners, or he hasn't seen it. So again, I think that's a concern in his transition.
If somebody takes Jalen Hyatt in the first round at the end of tonight, I'm saying, a little much. Again, I think Cedric Tillman is the better pro prospect, but Jalen Hyatt is legit fast, blow by people, and he's physical. Like he allows and plays through physicality. He took some big shots at the football and everything there too. And he stayed healthy because I just saw somebody say, "What about hell? Caleb Farley's fast at the IR." Yeah, but I mean, come on, like there's Caleb Farley had 1 year of production and then had multiple years of injuries stacked up. Like, yeah, I get the concern with Jalen Hyatt. I have him too, but I don't think you can just say, "Well, he just ran straight." Well, he ran straight all the way to a Blitnikoff Award, and Big Ten Jeff is upset because JSN or Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't get it either.
Harrison will have time to get his, but
yeah,
I just worry about Hyatt. I don't know. I wouldn't touch him.
Yeah, he's got to be able to get. If I were coaching against Jalen Hyatt, I'd say, yeah, go punch him in the mouth and see how he responds to it.
So,
yeah,
like
sure.
at 41, does Hyatt make sense?
Yeah.
Really? That wasn't your most convincing, by the way.
It does. It does make sense at 41.
Buffalo has made a trade. The Giants have taken Deontay Banks. I think Buffalo's coming to get a tight end. Maybe.
There's so many great tight ends in this draft, and none of them have been touched.
Yeah, it's because everybody's like, we'll get the next one.
Yeah, we'll get the next guy
until he's not there. Kind of like
until it's like it's in your fantasy football drafts. It's like nobody drafts the defense until that one jerk drafts the defense, and then everybody has to go get their defense. And like, I didn't want to do that in the 9th round of my fantasy draft. I want to do that in the 12th round.
I think Dallas is going to be that jerk at 26 if Buffalo doesn't do it here.
Probably so. So Buffalo moves up. Is Buffalo on the clock?
Buffalo moved from 27 to 25 with the Jaguars, who got pick 27 and 130. So Bills are now on the clock. I think this is going to be Dalton Kincaid. We'll see, but that would be my prediction here.
Can they go? Can they have a Dalton and a Dawson at tight end in Buffalo?
Both of them having last names that start with K.
Yeah, although one is silent. Yeah, one is silent.
True. I'm trying to do a count here. I'm going to try and get the updated SEC Big Ten count. Can I just get it? Are we getting Texas as SEC?
No. We don't adopt them.
All right, because I was going to say I'll happily take I'll take USC.
Only a Big Ten person would try to pull that move.
SEC doesn't even want A&M in Missouri, and they've been here.
Yeah. You can have
10 years maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see then. We got. I'll do the count. You guys, you hold down the fort here. I'll come back with some numbers, and we'll see what happens end of the first round here. We're coming down to it.
To make it even more fair for the Big Ten, you can leave out Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Missouri.
Well, those teams don't have draft picks here, Jack.
Well, I'll let you get away with it.
All right.
All right. So Sam's counting. So if you want us to start yelling numbers at him to see how it goes. John B says the Big Ten has 9, the SEC has 7. What John is that correct?
I didn't get there yet, but I'll count. I'll make sure. I don't want to doubt my guy here, but
with the Jags coming up,
yeah.
How do you think they feel about how everything's kind of shaken out here in the AFC South?
I mean, they have to still feel confident because they've got they've drafted front 7 the last few years high, right? They get weapon. I mean, the Jags have to feel good. Why shouldn't they?
Yeah, I just wonder though if they feel like anybody's really closed the gap. Like Skoronski, sure, it makes sense for the Titans. I don't know that it really significantly closes the gap. The Texans still a ways away.
I think if you're the Jags, then you're saying, all right, the Titans are not completely going away for a new start because Tannehill, Henry are most likely going to be there with Skoronski, excuse me. And so I do think that might make the Jags feel a little tighter just because the Titans are going to run it back for sure.
I have it currently at an 8-8 tie between the SEC and the Big Ten for players drafted. Now the SEC is Will Levis, Nolan Smith might sneak into the first round here. The Big Ten has Joey Porter Jr. might sneak into the first round here. Mozzie Smith could sneak into the first round. So we'll see.
Back to the Jags thing. If they go tight end and they get one of these premier tight ends, how scary is that?
They just paid Evan Engram though.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Yeah, I guess
that's why they keep trading back.
So, I mean, Cam Robinson got suspended for the first chunk of the season.
I think the Jags will end up taking like Osiris Torrance at like 27 after trading back multiple times.
That's what I was going to say. I was literally going to say Osiris Torrance. Just go Gainesville to Jacksonville and call it a day.
Yeah. But that's a guy that was, with the way the board has fell, a reach maybe at where they were at. And they're like, all right, we'll keep moving back and stack some later picks. Not a bad strategy. Buffalo's pick is in.
After Buffalo picks, I got a question for you guys.
Okay. It is. Do you want to just go for it?
Yeah, you can go ahead and
Okay.
lay out the
Dalton
question.
Kincaid is the pick for Buffalo.
There you go. There you go. First tight end off the board and a great fit. Another weapon that's going to be dangerous for Josh Allen, who, my goodness, like you have to now face the Buffalo Bills throwing to Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and Dalton Kincaid. Yikes.
Here's my
Will
question.
Levis, man, still sitting there.
I hate to see this. I hate to see it. He's making the most of it. He's putting a happy face on, and he's sitting there with his family or whatever. But I'm like,
I wonder if he's had to have a couple more cups of coffee because the night's gone longer than he thought.
He's the most. Just looking at him, he's the most bothered, unbothered guy.
I see his sister right there, like gave a wave to the camera, and Will kind of looked at the camera like she saw it. She was like, "Oh, hi," and he was kind of like,
he doesn't think it's that cool.
He's like, "Yeah, I don't love the camera sitting on me while I'm in the green room still."
Okay, so is it normal for GMs to, do immediate press conferences after they make picks, or with John Robinson and GMs before John Robinson came in, do they wait till after the entire first round plays out? Because I'm wondering if surely he's got, he's still doing his job. But when you brought up that, he's probably not working any deals because he's doing a press conference right now, is that normal, or do teams usually like to wait?
It felt like they did the presser after the pick tonight sooner usually than they normally do. So that I do think that's interesting because normally they would wait until later until they know they're done, but they got it done early. Does that mean that maybe they wanted to get back in there? They get that out of the way and go back in later. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that normally goes. But yeah, Rand.
Well, I was Buck texted me, and he was like, "Yeah, they did that earlier than I thought they would." And so, because Sam, didn't you said the email this morning so that they would have the press conference at the end of each day?
Yeah, they would do in person at the end of each day, correct?
Which they did the press conference before the player had the conference call Zoom.
So interesting to note here, this trade, Buffalo jumps Dallas in going to get Dalton Kincaid. So potentially something notable there with them going to get their tight end.
I'm reading the chat. The chat has been on fire all night. For all of you who have stuck with us so long, y'all have been keeping me entertained the whole way through. This is probably my favorite comment in the last hour, just how ridiculous this thing is.
Yeah.
We've got through one pick. I don't like the new GM. I don't like this guy. Come on.
Hey, whatever. I respect it. Hey, sticking to it. Real quick, super chat we'll get to. While we get to the super chat, we are at 87 likes and reactions on the show. I'd like to see that hit triple digits. We put in almost 3 hours now. I think that deserves triple digits. So if you haven't done it, like the show. 13.
Thank you.
We need 13 likes. We just picked up 2 more. I like
that's for Facebook only, I think.
Well, then there we go. We're pouring them in. 94. I need 6 more. I need 6 more.
YouTube has 100.
Just like that. Come on now.
See, YouTube's got 115 likes, which I think it needs to be way higher than that.
But we just flew over 100 just like that, guys. It was that easy. Easy. 3 hours in. We're still going strong. Chat's still going strong. Let's get to the super chat. Titan70 says, seeing how Tennessee just approved the most expensive stadium in league history today, where do we go from here? I think, Austin, this is a topic that we talked about a lot on the morning show, kind of going over what the possibilities were on draft night. And throughout this offseason is 2027 is the date that you put on the stadium. Peter Skoronski's 5th-year option will be able to be picked up for 2027. So, where do you go from here to put yourself in a Super Bowl contention window and in a really good spot when that kind of new era rolls around and fans are, have a lot of buzz about the team?
Yeah, because
it's long from now, as Ben says. So it's hard to know immediately, but I do think you need to start thinking about what King Jafet says right here. We need a new QB. Like the quarterback that breaks in that new stadium is going to be a really interesting.
Where is that quarterback now? And Jack
college somewhere, probably. somewhere. I don't know how old he is in college.
Yeah, he might
He's in
be. He
college.
might be like an incoming freshman in college.
Well, maybe it's Arch Manning.
Nico Iamaleava.
Or Arch Manning.
Hopefully Jack can jump in here. He froze.
Listen, Jack promised me that he would, wipe this, finish this thing out here. We're almost to the end. They're showing Michael Mayer. These are the ones that break my heart, man. They're showing Michael Mayer right now in like an entire draft party that looks like it just has hundreds of his friends at it. I mean, he's got his parents right here and then all like college age looking kids around him, all of his friends. And we're getting towards the end of the first round. Has not gotten a call. Is this the spot right here that Dallas goes with the tight end?
Jack is trying to get back in here. I don't know what happened to him, but Jack did not tap out, Kyle. Yeah, he's efforting as you.
I also have to give what you think here, Austin, because Mr. Jones has been on the Hendon Hooker train at 11. He wanted Hendon Hooker, and he's been, basically every comment from him has been about Hendon Hooker. He says maybe Rand is a genius if he still gets Hendon Hooker in the second round. Is that a possibility at 41 with Will Levis still on the board here at 26 now?
I mean, technically, yeah, it's a possibility. I just don't think it would be the smart move. I think the Titans have to go with a pass catcher at 41. Hooker's just too much of a risk.
I'm in agreement. I mean, unless you liked Will Levis a lot and just happen to like Skoronski more and like you have an opportunity to get the guy that you think could be the guy, you need to move on a player that, fills a need, right? And if you weren't going to take a quarterback in the first round, you're probably not going to take a quarterback at all, at least not one of, at that level. So I think you have to go receiver. That's, where I'm at with the second round pick here, which will be, early tomorrow. We'll be back at this tomorrow.
Right.
We're not doing a trade tomorrow.
No, on Hendon Hooker, I feel like the only way I would have liked the Hendon Hooker draft pick is if he was drafted if the Titans traded back, right? You trade back in the first round, get Hendon Hooker, so you have the fifth-year option, but you gain other picks on Friday to do it. That's the only scenario I would have liked that. For the Titans, I don't think it makes sense to draft a quarterback outside the first round 2 years in a row.
I would agree. I mean, day two quarterbacks are, in a lot of ways, a waste of a pick more often than not. I mean, like, unless that guy is going to be the special hit like Jalen Hurts, a lot of the time they're not long-term starters for you. And so, I mean, that's an area of the draft that you can potentially get a really valuable player that can help you, like, and be immediately impactful. And a quarterback at that level is just not that. Dallas's pick is in here at 26. We're winding down the first round. Mel Kiper's best available right now. Will Levis is at number 1. Nolan Smith is number 2. Number 3 is Joey Porter Jr. Sam the Man says, when is that Manning kid coming out? Referring to my mention of Arch Manning as, one of the options for the Titans' next quarterback when the stadium gets opened or whatever. We'll see where he even ends up with how he, does at Texas, but he's an incoming freshman.
Yep.
So I don't know exactly what is that, 3 years then until he's drafted? It'll be the 2026 draft.
Yep. 2026 draft would be his first draft eligible year. Jack, you good?
I'm good. I'm still working through some stuff with this connection. I think I gotta sacrifice one of these things here. So y'all are gonna have to keep me updated on the draft. But
you're good.
Yeah, all good. So what did I miss? Sam's talking Arch Manning for the Titans?
Yeah. Arch Manning is gonna open up the new stadium.
Yeah, talking to Super Chat about the new stadium, where the Titans go for the new stadium. And then good. John, I mean, this goes off of it too. John saying not drafting a QB this draft is putting the Titans 3+ years behind the rest of the division and 5+ years behind the rest of the AFC. Defense is worthless if the offense can't score points. How do we feel about John, guys?
But
John speaking facts, man.
I mean, but again, like the Texans made that decision for the Titans, right? By taking C.J.Stroud at 2. That was it. The Titans weren't going to move up for Richardson. They clearly didn't want to take Will Levis because they could have at 11. And so that was it. That was the Titans spot. And the Texans said, nope. So I don't know how you can really blame them at this point. The Texans sucked more than you did, as did the Colts. You weren't planning on going 7-10. You were planning on going 10-7. And then the injuries happened. So I don't know what you want Rand Carthon to do in that situation. Because the Texans, as Nintendo Orc says, screwed the Titans tonight.
Well, Mozzie Smith has gone off the board. Out of Michigan, the Big Ten takes the lead 9-8 over the SEC. For those of you keeping track at home, an interesting pick by Dallas there. They don't go with the tight end. They go defensive tackle at 26 overall. We have 5 picks left in this first round. No Will Levis.
Yeah. Chris Vonta Smith says, excuses to all what I said. How is that? I just told you what happened. It was the reality. It wasn't any excuse. John said the Titans are behind because the Texans and the Colts got a quarterback.
Yeah.
How is that an excuse?
Well, that brings into another point of frustration for Titans fans, and I think it's very fair to have. But, this is probably not something the Titans can control, because when there are rumors that, stuff that comes out the day of the draft, you never know what to believe. But it seemed very clear, and multiple people reported that the Titans were doing all they could to get to that 3 spot. Usually it's the Titans who are, tight-lipped and buttoned up. This time around, nobody knew what the Texans were doing at 2. I mean, you usually know who's going 2 weeks before the draft. So it was the Texans who, and Rand Carthon said he doesn't like to do business in public. They kind of did, in the days leading up to the draft, and maybe tipped their hand, and the Texans were like, nope, you're not doing that. We'll take that pick. We don't care what it costs. We're a few years away anyways. We don't got to win now. The Titans have a roster to contend for the AFC South now. The Texans just made sure that won't be the case, especially with the quarterback situation for the next few seasons.
How quickly can that change, though? Because next year they might be in a spot to go get a pick. You don't know where they'll be or what the outlook will be on quarterbacks. You just know that the Texans made sure the Titans weren't going to get Anthony Richardson, which I'm not sure the Titans were doing anyway. So by drafting, Richardson, by going for number 3 and then drafting Stroud, which of course was what the Titans probably had their eyes on, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so another comment, Chuck says, Rand as a rookie GM got played. How did he get played by the Texans picking second?
A team that had a better pick than you took the player that you wanted. That
in your division
all the time.
Yes, in your division that was going to try to box you out.
Yeah, I mean, if you considered getting played, having your pick taken before you, a lot of GMs get played all the time. Sometimes you just can't move up, or you don't pick high enough to get the guy that you like most. I think that was the case with the Titans. I think they liked C.J.Stroud, and they didn't have a pick to go get C.J.Stroud. He went number 2 overall, and you weren't picking number 2, and you weren't picking number 1. So those picks weren't up for grabs. I mean, you could have gone up to get number 1, I suppose, if you wanted to give up a ransom to the Bears, but we've been over that a few times. I think that trade would have included Jeffrey Simmons and been way more expensive than Titans fans probably would have been happy with.
Yeah, I don't think Rand got played. I think that he kind of just – when you're at 11 and you've got a team with more capital than you willing to move to that 3 spot, there's only so much you can do. And you've got to keep it like the Texans – like I was just saying, the Texans are so far away from contending for anything that matters. They can, go up and get these guys and say, well, maybe 3-4 years from now we'll be in a position to contend. The Titans, you've got these veterans on the roster. You've got Derrick Henry still. You've got Kevin Byard. You just re-signed Jeffrey Simmons. You got Harold Landry coming back. You've got plenty of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Now, there isn't a ton on offense, but you have Derrick Henry. You can maybe work with getting and Sam, you asked when will this change? Well, it could change as soon as tomorrow.
Yeah.
Realistically, this thing could get flipped on its head tomorrow. And we're talking about the Titans walking away with either Will Levis or Hendon Hooker, or maybe even, you get deeper in the draft, one of those guys. It could change quickly. I think the Texans were in a position to do that. Rand Carthon didn't get played. he kind of just he didn't lose. He didn't take a risk, and that's fine. That's fine. But I think that we just really wanted an exciting pick to change the way we watch the Titans.
Yeah,
Well, the same kind of Titans for years.
Here's some stuff from Rand Carthon, kind of along that line during his press conference, his introductory statement. He said, I'll start it off. We all know why we are here. We just selected Peter Skoronski with the 11th overall pick. Peter checks all the boxes for us and we're looking for our offensive line, and we're looking for to bring into our program. He was a guy that, truth be told, we targeted from the very beginning. Didn't know if he was going to be there or not, so we had other contingency plans just in case, and we got lucky, and he was there. So it made the pick really easy for us to pull off at 11. Mike Vrabel follows up and says, I want to thank Rand and his staff for putting in all the work, not only on Peter, but this entire draft. Where we were yesterday in some of the scenarios, our communication was good. We've absolutely enjoyed it so far. We're getting a fantastic physical, violent player that has versatility. And those things are things that we covet. With the durability, I know when he grabs people, most of the time they stop moving. And that's a really good thing for offensive linemen. If
you would have read that and said, who said this? I'd be like, Mike Vrabel.
Yeah. Those are some of his favorite words.
Violent.
Rand asked about trading up with Arizona. Did you guys talk to Arizona? Anybody else about moving up? Was a quarterback in play? Rand said, if you guys remember when we spoke, I guess it was Monday, I told you guys about everybody being nosy. That included me. So you have to know all the scenarios above you, below you. So we called everybody, whether it was teams above us, teams below us, just exploring to see where we were going to be. It's funny. Mike and I were just talking about it downstairs. How they came off is about how we predicted and where we thought was going to be there and what we thought was going to be there for us at 11 to choose from. We did think Peter was going to go a little higher than expected, but we would have loved for him to fall to us, and he did. So sounds like Rand and Mike did a nice job of kind of predicting how things were going to shake out and doing their due diligence.
I mean, it's easy to say that after the pick, right? Breaking news. Every GM got the guy they wanted, and they're lucky that they fell to him at their spot. Rinse and repeat.
I mean, I buy it though. Do you not buy it? I mean, Sam, the characteristics of Peter Skoronski are everything Mike Vrabel describes.
You're not going to go up there and say he's got this hole and we're worried about where he fits in on the offensive line, whether it's guard or tack. It's going to be all, candy and rainbows.
Yeah,
exactly. And you literally the same thing every year. Although, John Robinson had a couple spots where when they picked Isaiah Wilson, he's like, yeah, we tried to trade back and we couldn't. All right.
Really wish you would have, John.
Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars just made their pick. It's offensive tackle Anton Harrison from the University of Oklahoma. So not Osiris Torrance, but they do go with the O-line out there in front of Trevor Lawrence. And
does not count for the SEC.
Does not. Big Ten still has the lead with 4 picks to go.
Thank gosh.
Who is it?
Who is it?
You're not going to hear the end of it out of me if the Big Ten ends up winning this thing, right?
It's like that scene in Always Sunny where they say it's not cool to count beers. Like SEC fans don't care about the count. Like they win it every single year. I feel like the Big Ten may hang a banner over it though. It's it just means more, but for the Big Ten. Adam Schefter just tweeted out an interesting list. Will Levis's top 30 visits. 8 of those teams were listed. The Carolina Panthers, they got their guy. The Texans got their guy. Colts got their guy. Raiders, Titans, Falcons, Patriots.
That's 7.
Was it 7? 7 teams.
Hey, we've been on
there was
here
another
for
team.
3 hours.
It's been 3 hours and 8 minutes. I think you're okay.
The Panthers. Did you see the Panthers?
I said the Panthers. Oh, Buccaneers. I left out the Bucs.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, 8. Okay.
Like tomorrow, looking at the order tomorrow, do any of those teams that still need a quarterback pick in front of the Titans? Do the Raiders are really the only one?
I think the Raiders could. I think Atlanta could. I think I certainly think a lot of those teams are in the running to make a move like that in the second round.
And the Rams are your wild card at 36 as well.
The Rams are a wild card at 36 because we haven't seen them pick this high in a very long time. So
Bengals pick is in here live on the show. We're getting deep into the 10 o'clock hour Central Time. Kyle
This
brings
might be
this.
Michael Meyer here, maybe.
Yeah, I saw a lot of thought that the Bengals could take Jahmyr Gibbs here, but he's gone a long time ago. Kyle Harris brings this up, and it's true. Trey Lance is still a possibility. What are the chances of that happening, and how would you guys feel about that? Kyle, I like it. That is a true possibility because Trey Lance would be a day 2 pick most likely in a trade. So maybe we can pencil that in, Sam, for tomorrow morning and have a conversation about the quarterback position and what that looks like, or tomorrow night when we're back on here for the second round.
Yeah, I mean, it's
your option there.
That's right.
Yeah, you get the option. It's a guy who I would say is, you can't say with any sort of certainty is your answer or going to be good, but he has some upside that a lot of these draft picks have and comes at, a fraction of the cost, because at least what we heard today, the latest out of San Francisco, was that the 49ers were having a hard time finding a partner for, a Trey Lance trade, and that it might be a difficult thing. And, nobody's really all that interested. So, I don't know. I like it too. I'm with you, Austin, about how, what he could bring to the table and, at least the upside that's there if you're looking for a potential future answer, as the Bengals have selected Myles Murphy, and a guy out of Clemson going to the Bengals just kind of feels right. Does it not?
Yeah. Pick 28, the first Clemson player of the draft.
They fell off.
Feels late. What's Dabo doing over there?
They're in the SEC, right?
No, it's the ACC.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry. So another pick that wasn't an SEC player. Got it.
Yeah.
All those starters rested in the Orange Bowl just to get picked on day 2. Come on.
Oh, man.
I didn't
Dabo's going to retire because NIL's killing the college game, Dabo. God, that guy. Now, if you want to talk about bias, I will go on for days about Dabo.
He's not very likable, is he?
Can we do a wellness check on Titanium Titan? Because I do notice the UK picture.
Yeah, he could be referring to a handful of different things.
I don't know what he's referring to. I just noticed the picture, and I just want to know how he's feeling. Bad day to be a Kentucky Wildcats fan. Their golden boy, is dropping here. We got Sam must be a Big Ten homer. Yeah, I am unapologetically a Big Ten homer. Some are saying it's the best conference in football. People are saying it. Don't shoot me. I'm just the messenger.
Sam and Jeff are people.
We are people, and we're saying it. So, some.
All right, 28. This is a quarterback spot, right? With the Saints.
Could be.
Sorry, 29.
Could be a Hendon Hooker spot.
With the Saints?
Yep.
Maybe. I mean, that Derek Carr deal is not as long term as you might. It's really a 2-year deal when you look at the guaranteed money in it. So
yeah, but in the NFC South, I mean, those teams stink.
I would agree. It's probably no. It's probably not. It just maybe it could be.
I could see them circling back maybe round 2 if Hooker or somebody's still there.
Guys, you take quarterbacks in the first round.
You need that 5th year. Yeah, you need that.
But we can't act like there haven't been quarterbacks taken after the first round.
No, I know, but this is the perfect spot.
But you look at Green Bay trading back in to take Jordan Love, and why do they do that? Well, they might feel they can get the guy, but you get that 5th year option. So, there's a precedent for that quarterback that is dropping. Someone that might want to get him early day 2 says, screw it, we'll go early day 1 and go get that 5th year option with him. So
no, there's definitely an advantage. I'm not saying that it's the same as drafting somebody in round 2 as it is to round 1, but I don't know. It's when you have a guy like that there and you're really iffy about the position and he kind of just fits and he can go soon, like Hooker, like Levis. I think there's worse picks to be made.
We've got
Hendon Hooker really needs to go in the first round, for him. I think.
Well, because of the injury, the 5th year option becomes really valuable for him, because otherwise you're looking at a guy who has 3 years essentially of control for whatever team is drafting him versus, we have a comment that says, Sam, who is your college team? Well, in case you didn't get it from the ILL chance, I am University of Illinois, the Fighting Illini.
2.5 hours ago.
Yeah, if you are just now joining us, you probably missed that because I was celebrating the fact that we have a top 10 pick or top 5 pick. Sorry. Noah brings up the idea of Darnell Washington at 41. How do we feel about that?
Sure.
Boo.
I
mean,
what?
Well, you have Chig, but like, are you going to run,
yes,
2 tight ends a lot of the time?
Hell yeah, you are. You just got Peter Skronski, Mr. Pizzeria. I'm going to call him Peter Pizzeria. Yeah, at this point,
Darnell Washington's a freak. I shouldn't have booed the idea, but I just want a receiver. Give me a receiver.
It's not a bad idea. It's just like it's like we said earlier, it's a luxury when you don't really have.
That's identity. That's not a luxury. It's an identity pick.
But aren't they trying to move away from that identity? Like you're not going to have Derrick Henry forever, and you're really not.
But Darnell Washington,
he's a pass catcher. He can.
Darnell Washington is a different type of person. Like if you got Chig and Darnell Washington. Yes. That's like
Traylon, Darnell Washington.
Because now here's the thing. You don't have to force Chig to be something he's not, and you also don't need the next version of Jeff Swaim. Well, so yes, you want Darnell Washington.
They signed the next version.
Yeah, Trayvon Wesco does what the Titans do in their current identity.
That's my point.
But if you can do that while also having a guy that's a dangerous pass catcher, it gives you the best of both worlds, right? Trayvon Wesco is a better Jeff Swaim, but better Jeff Swaim at blocking. He's irrelevant.
The Titans offense was at its best when Jonnu Smith was healthy and Jonnu Smith was on the field, and it could have been any play in the playbook. And Darnell Washington is that guy.
Devin follows it up by saying, we run 2 tight ends. It's like 60% of the time and only have 1 starter. I agree. Like that. Yes, they do, Devin. It's more of, I think Darnell Washington is best used when you are able to use his ability as a vertical threat. Can the Titans do that with the emphasis that they put on run blocking and the fact that Chig is already that vertical threat? Typically, they like to go 1 vertical guy, 1 pass catcher, and then they get the inline guy, which is why, there is rumors that, an inline guy could be of interest to them later. But Devin, kind of to your point, Austin, he's kind of built different. Thinks he's the next Gronk, and he can do a little bit of both, which is true. He's not built like Gronk. He is built a little different, though.
And you get real physical with Washington up there. Who knows? Dillard may not work out at left side, or he may need help over there, or vice versa. NPF could need help on the right side. You can move Washington to help chip and then release. The guy's talented, but I just don't think that that's the right pick.
Because we've talked so many times about the Titans being predictable on run versus pass just by who's on the field. Darnell Washington eliminates that.
Facts. Good point.
Thank you.
Brian Brzee from Clemson, a second Clemson guy going in the first round. A lot of injuries. He does find his way into the first round with New Orleans. We have 2 picks remaining with Philly and Kansas City. And the best still available.
So Austin,
refresh the page. Will Levis, Nolan Smith, Michael Meyer, Joey Porter, Brian Branch. At least 3 of those guys will fall out of the first round. And then you have Hendon Hooker as well.
If we see a Malik Willis-like slide from Will Levis, which it's starting to look fairly likely, Austin, is there even a point in this draft? Is there a round? Is there a number that he might make sense for the Titans?
No.
Gosh, you're so stubborn.
Really? No.
Come on, dude. Work with me.
No. Why?
I'm
Name a round.
4th You're going to turn me into like the
You're biggest. You're going to have a 4th round pick.
What if he's there at 72?
No. Go get a wide receiver or a pass catcher.
What if you get one at 41 and then he's there at 72?
Go get a dude that can go play. You need a top.
If I would have told you at the beginning of the day that the Titans came out of here with Will Levis, Peter Skoronski, and a round 2 wide receiver, you would have been happy.
It would have been the last year's draft, Sam.
What do you mean?
Traylon Burks, NPF, Malik Willis.
Yeah, but I mean, That was unorthodox because you lost AJ. But you lost AJ Brown, so
but it looks good. It looks good, like right after the draft ends.
No,
and then
no,
you got to wait for that
no,
third round
no,
quarterback
no,
to
no,
prove that he's worth.
No. The Titans need to have at least one pass catcher and then a double down on either the O-line or the pass catcher in the first 3 picks. They're that bad there. If you've passed on a quarterback now, you've already said Ryan Tannehill or Trey Lance. You're not going to draft a quarterback at that point. And so now go get somebody to help Ryan Tannehill or Trey Lance and Derrick Henry and Traylon Burks and the offensive line. There you go. There's my pick.
What do you think Trey Lance will cost the Titans?
Probably a third.
Okay. So you'd rather give up a third to go get Lance rather than a third to use on Levis. Obviously, you feel a need by keeping your third round pick this year, and you worry about it down the road.
Yeah,
I do think it would be a massive failure to not find a pass catcher, specifically a wide receiver, with your first 2 picks in this draft.
I don't think they should trade for Trey Lance because, again, like, is he healthy? Like, he kind of had the Marcus Mariota injury, didn't he? That's kind of scary.
Which Marcus Mariota injury, though? The guy who had like
the bad Christmas Eve break your leg in half.
Yeah, that's the bad one. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. Lance doesn't really. I mean, Lance just kind of breathes a little bit of hope in to the fan base for a moment, just because it's a fresh quarterback and it's somebody that you can maybe trust a little more than Willis. But I don't think that he's the answer there. I don't think that move makes sense. I mean, it's a dark.
They keep showing. I'm sorry, I'm distracted. They keep showing these cutaways to Will Levis in the green room, and I'm just sad. I'm like, you feel so bad.
But I felt like I'm being validated with my opinion, though. At the same time, like back in
getting picked.
Like, remember watching the college football season this past year?
You know who else fell?
Hold on. Todd McShay is covering Kentucky football games on ESPN's network on the field, being like, Will Levis, people love him. He's a first-round quarterback. He's going to go high. He's going to blow people away at the combine. He's got all the tools. All this nonsense through Kentucky's 12-game regular season of bad play, and constantly a storyline on the broadcast every week was Will Levis is going to be a first-round pick. The NFL talent evaluators love him. He's a scout's dream. He is exactly what you want to build a quarterback in a lab. And here we are. And I'm sitting there screaming at my television saying, he's not good. And now he's sitting there in his very nice suit in Kansas City, wasting time on his phone.
But like there's still a chance that Levis could, this is just strictly Lance versus Levis. There's still a chance that Levis has something. Like with Lance, I mean, he's kind of got that bust stamp on. He's got that stink to him, Levis doesn't have that. Sure, Levis, sucked in the SEC this year with a new offensive coordinator, bad offensive line, best weapon being a freshman. But like Lance, we know that guy's kind of a bust. Levis,
no, you don't. You don't know. You don't know that Trey Lance can't do it. You just know that you haven't seen him do it. But
the Will Levis stuff from our guy James Foster over at A to Z Sports Film Room. He has the strengths as prototypical frame with mobility to avoid pressure and extend plays, the arm talent to attack every level of coverage, smooth and concise throwing motion, capable of throwing the ball from different release points, throws with timing and anticipation from the pocket, works through his progressions efficiently, confident under pressure, can speed up his release and maintain accuracy and touch. A lot of positives, especially with the intangibles that he has with his frame, his arm strength, a lot of confidence. But the weaknesses, does a poor job protecting the football, 32 turnovers in 2 years. Not an uncommon result of not an uncommon result of a quarterback that plays for a bad team. Sometimes they're pressing a little bit too much, and they end up turning the ball over. Inconsistent field vision, ignores backside safeties, and struggles to identify coverage rotations. Takes too many sacks. Accuracy is consistent for the most part, but a couple awful and under and overthrows lead to interceptions. Production plummeted in 2022 when he had a worse supporting cast. So really, this is why everybody is torn on this guy. But I mean, you mentioned the upside, right? It's arm strength like that on that ball.
Look at that.
He just threw.
It's a great throw.
It's size like Josh Allen. It's confidence to up in the pocket, to step in the pocket and sling it downfield. So those are the intangibles you look at and see a pro style quarterback. But, you know, with the top 30 visits, watch him torch Vanderbilt there.
Hey,
you know, watching the tape says one thing with this type of upside, but Austin, like to your point, these teams had their top 30 visits with him. They saw how he processed information. They broke down tape with him. They met him in person. The fact that he's still on the board shows you that, you know, a number of those teams that, you know, Jack rattled off and named earlier probably didn't love what they saw, because if they did, you know, he'd be off the board right now. So, you know, what does that mean for the details?
3 of those teams he visited with found a quarterback early. 5 of them passed on Levis. All 5.
Right.
It's
yeah.
damning.
And I mean, like, yeah. I mean, it's tough.
Not good.
We've got Kelsey's mother announcing the Eagles pick here because Kansas City's on deck.
Can we get rid of the Kelseys, man? I'm tired of them.
Hey, Jason can stay.
Yeah. Okay. I'll sign that.
Y'all ready for the dumb comment of the night?
Sure.
All right. Brace yourselves. Drum roll. The dumb comment of the night goes to no other than Mr. Jones for saying that Trey Lance got beat out by Mr. Irrelevant.
It's kind of true.
Grizzlies fan. I like.
How is it true? Trey Lance had his legs snapped in half.
Yeah, but I mean, they've chosen Brock Purdy moving forward. Now, I mean, I'm not sure they had much of a choice because Brock Purdy won with them, and when a guy wins, you know, you kind of can't argue with the wins and losses, but they are choosing and dealing Lance to go with Purdy. That's because
Trey Lance has value.
Purdy
does not.
Before the season,
I disagree with that entire. The reason they're going with Purdy is because they think he gives them a better chance to win.
But before the season,
Trey Lance do it. Like Trey Lance was the starter last year until his legs snapped in half.
Yeah, and then not only did he play better than Trey Lance has as the starter or in the opportunities that he's gotten. So
he's only had like 4 games, and in one of them he snapped his leg in half.
He went like, Lance hit. Yeah, but I mean, again, you can't argue with winning. So did he get beat out? I think he did get beat out.
He didn't get beat out. He broke his leg in half.
He won the job from Jimmy Garoppolo.
But if he didn't get beat out, he would still be the starter when he comes back and gets healthy.
Yeah, but he's coming back from a dramatic injury where his foot was rotated in the other direction and had to have a follow-up surgery on New Year's Eve.
So
you get beat out by
you would start Lance over Purdy?
I didn't say that. I just said that he didn't get beat out by Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. Trey Lance had a traumatic injury.
Purdy's injury is almost as concerning as Lance's too, with the elbow stuff.
It is concerning, but that they got luckier with that because it was.
Like I'd say Andre Dillard got beat out in Philly. Like right away, Jordan Mailata stepped in.
Because that was a multi-year, like the Andre Dillard thing was a multi-year play out. Haven't had
Jordan Mailata stepped in when Andre Dillard got hurt and then played well enough that he remained the starter and won the job. That's what Brock Purdy did last year.
Yes, but Trey Lance hasn't had the opportunity to get it back yet because he was a season-ending injury. He has yet to be beat out by Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy just was healthy and Trey Lance was not. That's not how getting beat out works for your job.
Good point by Steve here. We, in our talking about this, Nolan Smith has gone to the Philadelphia Eagles, who have now gotten Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in this year's draft. How do they keep getting away with this?
And because last year they got Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean, who are basically the same this year version of the Georgia same dudes.
Just keep drafting Georgia players.
How do they get away with this? I mean,
Howie Roseman, masterclass. I mean, everything that he touches turns to gold.
Yeah, that is rich getting richer right there. I mean, that is a team that already has an incredible front four, continues to add defensive talent. Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter. That's how you build a sustainable winner right there. And I don't think I have any doubt now with where they've, found their fit in going to Philly that those guys are going to be successful.
All right, here's a couple people who think they're smart. John says, so Bledsoe didn't get beat out by Brady either. No, Drew Bledsoe had an established resume. You knew what Drew Bledsoe was. He was in his 30s. Like, you understood what Drew Bledsoe is. We don't know what Trey Lance is because he broke his leg in half in his 4th career start. So that's
but they see him in practice. Like, they've seen him practice.
Yeah, and he won the starting job going into his 2nd year over Jimmy Garoppolo.
But then they saw Brock, and now they want to go with Purdy moving forward.
Because you still they're trying. They think that Trey Lance is going to be fine for OTAs, but he's still physically not back yet. Like, there's still yet to have an opportunity for Brock Purdy to beat him out. Like, it's a significant injury here. And yeah, thank you, John. Lance hasn't had a chance to beat out Brock Purdy. And then, Jimbo comes in here, thinks that he's smart and funny too. Caleb Farley got beat out for his job. No, Caleb Farley lost his job, got delegated to special teams punt coverage, and then messed his back up again.
Yeah, Jimbo hadn't been right all night.
Jimbo, man, some of you guys swinging and missing.
You guys are. Oh, Nolan Smith did go, so that is an SEC player. So I believe we're tied now.
I'm sorry, Devin. Austin, they let Jimmy go and put Lance on the trading block. Pretty telling, because you can actually get value for Trey Lance, who is healthier than the guy Brock Purdy, who just busted his arm up. And Trey Lance was a 3rd overall pick and a 1st-round quarterback that you can get value for because he's healthier than Purdy is right now. Like,
this is my Super Bowl right here, guys. The Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock at number 31. Some of the best available players. This is the final pick of the 1st round. Will Levis obviously probably won't go to the Chiefs here. That seems like pretty sure thing. But you got Joey Porter Jr. representing the Big Ten, Brian Branch representing the SEC, Hendon Hooker representing the SEC. He's not going to go here. Keanu Benton, could that be the pick out of Wisconsin here to wrap out the 1st round, give the Big Ten the win? This is my Super Bowl. Let's go. We're 3 hours and 30 minutes in. I didn't come all this way out here to lose. We need 1 pick for double digits in the 1st round and to officially be crowned the best conference in college football.
That's not how you do that.
That's how I do that. I just did it. So
that's not how you do that.
The Chiefs. Yeah,
Borkington's right. Like, this is the only thing the Big Ten has right now.
Yeah, until basketball season.
Just resting on the resting. Again,
won a national titles in basketball in the last 2 decades.
Known Final Four contenders, the Big Ten.
Hey, once again, the Big Ten's relying on Ohio State to do something for them.
Illinois got a top 5 pick, by the way. Northwestern top number 11 pick.
Do your job.
Just do your job, bro.
Titanium Titan, as we're awaiting this last pick, yes, we are streaming tomorrow. Sam and I will wake up in like 4 hours and do the Titan.
There's a lot of streaming over like 3 days, man.
We're going to count this thing up. But how many hours did we talk live into a computer camera over the next 2 days? So, yeah, we'll talk about we'll do the morning show like normal tomorrow. Then us 3 will be back again for the 2nd round, back again for the 3rd round. I do not want to go 3.5 hours tomorrow, guys.
Oh, that would suck tomorrow.
No, we're into 2 different ones, right? So
yes, 2 different ones. One for the 2nd, one for the 3rd. We'll break in between. Who was it that was working the 20-hour shift that we were powering through for?
I don't have the comments up anymore, but hopefully it's still going strong over there.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that, and it's somebody that we know, somebody that watches all the time. Said, hey, I'm working through a 20-hour shift. You guys are the only way I can keep up with the draft, and you're keeping me awake. And I was like, all right, we're doing it.
Hey,
we're going all 31.
Bork says this is my initiation. Bork, I'm not worried about talking, man. I can sit here and talk draft stuff all night. I am worried that I'm starting to get this little pain in my neck. I'm starting to get tired.
I'm feeling it over here.
And yeah. I know Jack and we've got this looming thing in the back of our mind. We're like, man, we got to write. Like, we still got to write
a lot.
Yeah, we got to write a lot. Like, that's
I got to work Dude, I gotta download this 3.5 hour video and then go find 10 minutes to cut up.
But anyway, one more pick. This is the Super Bowl for the Big Ten.
Jared, it's him. Jared,
let's go.
Jared, you're why we're doing this.
I'm getting a little tired. Hey, last pick is about to come in. We're at 123 likes on Facebook.
Oh, here we go.
Do I hear 150? I'm just saying, we let's finish it strong for a 3.5 hour plus stream. Let's pound the like for the next few minutes. Let's try and get to 150 before the draft wraps up. And let's see what the Kansas City Chiefs have cooking up. I feel like they're up to no good here. Yeah, we're up to 129. I need 21 more likes. I need 21 more likes and reactions on Facebook. If you're watching, you haven't done it, do it. Just do it. I went and saw the movie Air about Nike. Good film. Just do it. They say that a couple times.
I thought you were about to say I watched Starsky and Hutch. Do it.
Nah, I watched Matt Damon at work.
It was good, though?
It was very good. I enjoyed it a lot. Great time. Matt Damon does the job. Ben Affleck never misses. Jason Bateman was in it. He was very good. 137, 13 more. 13 more. Here we go. Last pick.
We're tied, right?
We're
Big
tied.
Why are we playing into this, Austin?
Because
he cares. He cares. There you go. There's the right way.
We are a lot of minutes into this thing.
137. I need 13 likes on Facebook. Let's go. 13 likes. If this is a Big Ten player right here, I need like all the likes.
This is a good time to remind you guys that are still hanging out with us, who may stay up for a few more hours tonight, to listen to the Tighten Up podcast. We had Mike Herndon on. He broke down everything. You're going to hear some takes that maybe didn't age well, some that did. Listen to the Tighten Up podcast. You got a couple hours tonight, or hey, when you wake up tomorrow morning, we'll still be there.
Who is this guy that's announcing the pick?
Big 12, not Big 10.
Big
Felix
12. But go Illini anyway out of Roger. Felix Anudike Uzama.
There you go.
Is the pick. So, the Big Ten, it was a valiant effort, Nobody likes a tie. First player to go in the second round wins. How about that? No, actually, I'll take my tie. I'll take my tie.
Yeah. Oh, Big Ten boy getting a little scared.
No, we're good. We're good. Joey Porter Jr. is going first off in the second round. We're good.
You want to do that?
All right. Yeah. That'll be
hey, you know what? You know why? Because normally this is the Dolphins, right? We're making up for the Dolphins mistakes.
Yeah. So we need the 32nd one. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
All right. Titans taking a receiver tomorrow.
ILL from Noah, INI from me. The Titans maybe taking a receiver tomorrow. 3 hours and 36 minutes later, we have wrapped up the first round.
Let's see. Bork says, y'all are probably real thankful the Titans didn't draft a player with that hard of a name. Yeah, Skoronski isn't like the easiest thing either. I'm just going to have to get the Skronski.
Yeah, I can tell you're from Tennessee, man. You haven't dealt with enough skis in your life. Chicago, every other person's a ski. It's something ski all the time. Like everybody's ski. I had like 3 friends in high school, all nicknamed with ski was their nickname. It's like, yeah. So
my in-laws are from Philly. I know what I'm.
You know a ski, yeah. So you should know a ski. Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of skis out there.
We done?
Yeah, we're done here. I'm singing along to the song now in Kansas City. Well, 3 hours, 36 minutes, pushing on 3 hours, 37 minutes. That's a wrap for night one of the NFL draft. We're back at it tomorrow, Austin and I in the morning for the A to Z Sports Morning Show, talking more about the selection of Peter Skoronski. Keep an eye out on atozsports.com. Jack, myself, the entire writing staff have a lot of content coming out online. Just about every angle and everything you need to know about this draft cycle. And then we're back at it tomorrow for round 2 and then round 3, 2 other live streams. Hopefully the Titans continue to make moves that will help them in 2023 with some wide receivers still on the board and some interesting prospects. Jack needs a splash. He's itching.
Give me a splash.
Give me a splash. 300 people still however many, over 200 minutes into this thing. That's really, really impressive. We love A to Z Sports family out there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Austin, what do you have to say to the people?
That's about it, guys. But we do thank our sponsors. Our sponsor will be back tomorrow. So once again, you guys can make sure that you help or out our sponsors, excuse me, easy for me to say. HelloFresh, HelloFresh.com/ATOZ50 and use code ATOZ50. That's for 50% off and free shipping on your first box. Holiday World and Splashin Safari, make the most of your family's summer fun. Just a couple hours away. Get your tickets at holidayworld.com and Aura, keeping you safe online with our link, aura.com/ATOZ for 2 weeks for a free trial to see how many data brokers are sharing your info. Thank you guys. See you soon tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central, and then we'll keep on going from there. Thanks. Yeah.